Hey, we are live with the one and only Ramy El-Batrawi. Ramy, welcome. Glad to have you here, man.
Same, a pleasure. It's been actually a while since we've been on together.
It's been a while, man. It's been a while. I have sat in that same exact spot you're sitting in.
I know, same background, same everything. I
Yeah.
still love this place. After 4 months of bad weather, we're finally getting some really nice weather. So decided to
Dude,
do this
you've got
outside.
the most beautiful backyard and view of anybody I know. It's
Oh,
gorgeous.
thank you.
It's gorgeous. Hollywood Hills. So Ramy, we talked yesterday about doing this live stream to help people, just help people. And you definitely do a lot of this stuff. There's Facebook user. By the way, if you're in one of the private groups, you can go to streamyard.com/Facebook and make sure you're registered so your name will show up. There's my buddy Nick Ogilvy. One of these days you need to meet him. He is an entrepreneur of entrepreneurs. So Ramy, you and I talked yesterday. We talked about one of the things we discussed, because we always do anytime we talk, is mindset, because you have the
Right.
most phenomenal mindset of anybody I've ever known.
Thank you.
And so talk, if you would, let's start there. Let's talk a little bit about, and for anybody watching, if you don't have Ramy's book, Can You Really Think and Grow Rich? The Keys to Unlock an Extraordinary Life. If you don't have this book, stop that right now and go get a copy of the book. Just go to canyoureallythinkandgrowrich.com and pick up a book there. And if somebody would put that in the comments for me, put the www in there so it's clickable. Canyoureallythinkandgrowrich.com. So Ramy, talk about the mindset, because in your book there's a picture of you homeless holding your last $21, or is it $22?
21.
21
I
$21.
wasn't that rich to have 22.
Right. But how do you go from, it takes a significant leap to go from having $21 to sitting in your home right now, outside in the backyard, beautiful backyard of your home. I know what's in your garage. It's ridiculous what's in your garage. Like, how do you go from that to where you are now? What's the mindset shift you had to have?
Well, it's a mindset that I've always had since everybody knows my story is I picked up Think and Grow Rich when I was 12 years old and read it I don't know umpteen times, hundreds of times, and my mindset was right there of all the principles that Think and Grow Rich had, and all those principles are really in the mind. And the difference, what happened 6 years ago, is I went into those antidepressant drugs when I was fighting the government, and I lost that mindset for a little bit. But the moment I was clear and did a total cold turkey and went through the withdrawal, my mind went right back to it, and I was able to, within 5-6 years, build everything I have. So it's basically, I was lucky enough when I was really young when I read Think and Grow Rich. So when you're that young, you're impressionable. All that goes in your head, and you're not affected by what the rest of the world says and all that. So it's a little bit harder when you get older. But if you really do believe in the principles of what Think and Grow Rich, or you could even find it in my book also, because I break it down and how I use it. But it's really believing in yourself so much, that's one of the key things: having a burning desire, believing that you could do it, and there's absolutely no limits, and the limits are the limits you put on yourself. So once you get to a point where you believe in yourself that you can do anything, you do. It's just like there's no other way for you to go but the direction that you think of.
But I have to ask this question. I think we're good enough friends that I can press you a little bit, can't I?
Yeah.
I've got to ask this. Like, I'm looking for the picture right now, because the picture is you barefoot and homeless on the streets,
Right.
and holding your last $21, right?
Right.
in that moment though, like when you're down to your last $21, and I'm sure even that later that day it was even less, but when you're down to that last bit of cash,
Right.
where does the mindset, because you can't, like, you can't be feeling great about life in that exact moment.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, well,
how
that
do you
exact
find the hope?
Yeah, see, that exact moment maybe not, and it would have been that moment if I wasn't on those antidepressant drugs. But after that picture, actually, I was again arrested and put to a mental institution. So
Oh
it's actually got worse. So not only did I have 21, didn't have $21, I was in the middle of crazy town. There was a lot of crazy people in the small thing. But the good thing
oh
is,
my god.
it was really good. It was right at the tail end of all my withdrawals, and I was clear. All those drugs were out of my system. So even before I left that hospital, that's why in one of the pictures you'll see there's a picture of all the notes.
Yeah.
I was totally clear and realized I was back to myself, and I felt like conquer the world. Even though I had no money, I was in a mental institution. I just asked the nurse to give me a pad of paper and a pen and lock me up in the TV room so I'm not mixed with people. And I just wrote for 2 days, hundreds of pages of how I was going to come back and what I was going to build. So yeah, you could be that broke or even worse, as long as you have the clear mindset and those beliefs, and you could do it. So I mean, literally, before I left that hospital, I already had a plan of exactly how I was going to build. I was going to have my house back within 6 months. I was going to have my first company within 6 months. I was going to have my plane back within 3 years. I was going to everything I laid out in there. I was able to achieve because I believed I could do it. So when you're that broke, yeah. See, now I have one of the most expensive jets in the world, an MD-87 619. I fly all around the world doing deals on that jet. And you see, and all that was a goal. I set in my mind, I need to get that jet back. I need to do what Shogi did, to build a great wealth all over again. So it doesn't matter if you have $21, you're sitting at home in a job, or broke, or homeless. But the moment you believe that you can do it, then you take action, and then you could do it. I mean, it's really that simple. But read some of the principles so you could build that burning desire, all the other things that you need to do. But if you did nothing else but 100% believe that you can achieve what you want to do, you'll achieve it. That's why I think in one of the first few chapters we talked about the Coral Castle. Now that guy didn't read Think and Grow Rich, but he was in so much pain, so he did automatically get the emotional thing behind his desires, and he
Right.
wanted to build this castle to win his love that left him in the day he was going to get married to her, and he was in a lot of pain. But he got to a point where, in so much pain, he saw the universe gave him the information, and he totally believed he could build a whole castle by himself. And at the end, the Coral Castle existence right there in Florida. If anybody goes and see it, it's unbelievable. The smallest block is 2 tons. The door is 20 tons. And he spent his life building that, and nobody's ever saw him work, and they don't know how he did it, and you can't do it today. It is really, when a door fell off its hinges, it took 3 cranes to put it back in its place.
Oh my.
And he did it with no tools, by himself. So that example alone is just an extreme example, so you could see that whatever you think in your mind and you believe it, you can do it. Just like Einstein too. He wanted to figure out the universe. He wanted to figure out through mathematics how it all worked. And he was able to do the theory of relativity. And he measured the curvature of the universe before anybody could see it. It took scientists 12 years to finally get the telescopes and the right placement to measure it. And they just wanted to prove him wrong. And when they finally measured it, it was to the T. It was exactly to the millimeter, the exact measurement of how the universe was curved and how it was laid out. And that's because he wanted it, and he believed he could do it, and he put it all into mathematics. So if those great things can happen, so if you just want money that's floating around trillions of dollars every day, it's the simplest thing in the world. You just have to say, okay, I want this much money, and then you'll figure it out and take action, and you get it. And that's how I ended up, and that's why I wrote the book, to show people, even though going broke 4 times, coming back every time, I was still able to achieve everything I achieved because I believed I could do it. So it's really, that's why in our discussion, Ken, when you were asking how things going and you were almost complaining a little bit, I said, hey, that's where you stop. The moment you start complaining about anything, that's what you're going to attract. You say how great things are. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And that's how your mind will start working and start attracting. But the moment you see the opportunities, you have to take action. You can't procrastinate. You can't hesitate, or you're lost. Then it won't happen for you, because number one killer of success is procrastination. So it's immediate action the moment you feel it, and believe you can do it. The moment you doubt yourself, then you won't do it. So,
You've learned how, or I don't know that you've learned, you are, I swear you're the king of leveraging, like you're really good at getting other people involved in what in your projects, and all. I don't, is that leveraging other people, their money, their time, and
yeah.
getting people on your ship with you, on your boat, like, hey, we're all going in the same direction. How did you, where did you learn that skill?
Uh,
That's a skill set, man.
it's a skill set, but it's one easy to learn, because it is really, you can't build great wealth by yourself. I mean, you have
Right.
to have the people. If it's other people's money, or people are helping you out, or working with you really hard, you just have to have people that you could sell your vision, has the same vision as you. And I do other talks and stuff, and you got to have people that will win if you win. You got to think about your world around you and everything else, and say, okay, who wins if I win? Like when I started the Van Center, I knew that the guys who were building vans would win if I had a dealership. So I went to them to get the money to open up the first dealership. So in every deal, you got to think always, who will win if I win? And if they're going to win, if you win, they'll work with you, they'll finance with you, they'll do things. But if you go to people that has no interest, or you won't benefit any, or you're trying to get money from people who invest in real estate, and you're trying to get money to invest in tech, they're not interested. So you have to first focus on the right group. There's the right people, and make sure they win with you, and then you'll have the team of people, and they're excited, and they'll work with you, and they'll work blood and sweat. I mean, your employees will work hard if you could inspire them. So having a great attitude too, being excited about it, will sell them on you. So even when I was that broke, nobody knew I was that broke when I was ready to relaunch again. People felt my energy, I felt that I believed in the projects I was doing, and was willing to give me the money to do it. And then I found the right people to partner up with. The people who, the first one I was trying to do is build Keeperland, was a theme park. So I found the people who could build the theme parks, and then they wanted to be executives. So I was going to make them the management team. And I found the people who sell the lands, and I found the different people like Universal who wanted to have a different theme, to help sell tickets. So you work with people that will win if you win.
Yeah.
And you just come up with an idea, and then you'll find those people. I mean, you already have some in your circle, and if not, you can Google people who invest in certain areas, or excited about certain things, or go to places that you find those people, and then they'll get it done.
You know, you're you're so right, man. You and I have talked about some of the things that you said, when you get to a certain point, let's talk. Let's see how I can help you,
Right.
because you're in my circle. Like you're like a brother to me, and it's so
Different mother,
important.
but brother.
But like, here's I think about I forget what the company was it you were getting ready to buy, was it Paramount Pictures, or
Oh,
what was
Universal.
you
Universal.
oh yeah, the other little one you were getting. Whoa,
Yeah.
there you are, you're back,
Oh, sorry.
you
Yeah,
disappeared.
Universal. Yeah, yeah. Again, it was another who wins if I win. So I knew that at that time Universal was owned by Vivendi, which was a water company,
Yep.
and then ex-chairman just wanted to play around in Hollywood, so he bought Universal, and they kind of threw him out, and they said, "What is a water company owning a studio? That it doesn't make sense." So again. He wins if he sold that studio, and he wins if he gets $18 billion. So I told him I could get it done in 30 days, and it was a lot of convincing and stuff. But then I went back to America and say, who would win by owning this studio? And at the time, it was what was his name? He died. He owned Fox at the time before Murdoch. He sold Fox, and he was sad he sold Fox. It was oh, that other billionaire. I'll remember in a second. So I found him at Spago's restaurant, and I convinced him to put up the first $4 billion to buy Universal, because he wanted to be back in the movie business. And so after I got the first $4 billion, then it was easy. I went to the guy who started or the biggest talent agency, and I went to other funds that funded films and all that. So within 30, and it was a sexy deal. So within 30 days, I raised $18 billion, and I was able to go after that studio. Marvin Davis, that was the guy. So that was the first $4 billion. But he won. If I won, because if I got the studio, I get back to be in the studio, and it's a sexy deal. And all these other people who would be involved would have part of the studio that can enhance their making movies or enhance their actors to get into scripts and stuff like that. So it was a win for everybody if I could get the deal done. It's a win for Vendy if they sell it because their water company didn't want to be in a business. So again, that was how, I mean, it fell apart at the end because Marvin Davis, his ego, he went over there and did stupid things. So I need to control every situation because people do stupid things. The only times I've ever lost is when I had other people control something or get in the middle of something. So
Right.
he had too much of an ego, but that's another. But it just shows that even in that state, I was able to raise $18 billion in 30 days to buy Universal because I showed how people could win by doing it. So again, I'm giving big picture things or big numbers, but I believe in those numbers. You know, so other people might not believe in those numbers. So again, you get to a point where you believe and don't put any limitations. But even if you do $1 million deal or $10 million deal, it's still good. If you believe in it, you still get it done. So whatever somebody wants to do, they could do it. They just have to decide, get the teamwork. And then one of the things we talked about, and because now this is going to be my third public company, is if you look in a Forbes 400 list, the bulk of them made it by going public. I mean, the public market is one of the very best way of creating great wealth. You know, everything from Sam Walton was Walmart, or if you look at Warren Buffett, one of the richest man, it's all in the public markets and everything. But that is a way also applying these principles. Who will win if you win? So you want to get stockholders who will win if you grow your company. You know, the bankers win because they make a deal happen. You know, the market flows because you're public. You know, so the traders make money. So everybody wins if you go public. So if you execute in your business, then everybody wins. So being a public company is upsides and downside, and definitely the upside outweighs the downside. Is definitely more work, and even life is a lot more work. I keep on explaining to people that if you expect life is going to be easy, you start and you have a straight shoot, you're kind of kidding yourself. I mean, even myself. That's why I wrote the book. I don't know. I went broke so many times to come back, and every time I try to start a company to do something, there's obstacles, there's things that happen. I always have to take steps back to move forward. So nobody will ever start something or do anything, and it'll just happen overnight, just like that. It just doesn't work that way. So
I want to ask you a question. You and I yesterday when we were talking, we were talking about your jet. You're gonna pick me up in Dallas one of these days in that jet, right?
I offered you rides 3 times. You're refusing, so now you have to wait.
now I have to buy a tank of fuel if I want to ride.
It's on 120 grand to fill it up. You could do it.
How much is it?
120 grand to fill it up. You could do it.
No problem. I'll put it on my credit card. So my you know, chapter 10 in your book is bigger than I ever was. And the first part of that, and I want to talk about this because we talked about your jet yesterday and we were laughing. You were laughing. I wasn't laughing. You were like, you know, it's pretty hard for just a standard millionaire to own a jet.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's pretty tough. It's a couple $1 million a year before it ever gets started. Right. So, but in chapter 10, it's resetting the millions mindset to billions. And there's a whole process that you explain in the book. Talk about how, and I do want to dig further into the taking a public from private to public, but talk about the minds. It's a leap. It's go from thousands to millions, from millions to billions. What has to happen? What transacts in your brain to make that shift?
Well, you have to make it real. I mean, for me, it was, I knew I wanted it. I really wanted it, but it's when I went after Adnan Khashoggi, and then I went to his apartment and I saw how a billionaire lives. I saw his lifestyle, and then when I traveled with him, then hung around with Khashoggi. It's being surrounded by that and believing it. That's what makes it shift. Like when I watch television, I watch specials on these billionaires or the Rockefellers or Mellons or all these people built billions. And if you study really hard, I mean, the local guys are Bezos and I mean the new guys and Elon Musk and stuff. Just hang around them. If you can't hang around them, at least watch and immerse in how they think, what they're doing, and look at these public companies that are worth $1 trillion today or billions of dollars. So you just have to immerse yourself instead of watching the news that depresses you and stuff like that, or
Right.
looking at Instagram or TikTok and watching stupid things that brings you down, thinking about makeup or lifestyles that are just stupid. to me, I mean, people like it, but to me it doesn't enrich your mind. But if you surround your thought and it's constantly you're thinking about it, you become what you think of most of the time. So again, if you're thinking of only being a waitress or a cosmetic person or a doctor, this is what you got to become. But I always think about becoming one of the richest men in the world. So if I do that, then I look for those things and the opportunities come to me. So I watch programs that does that. I study those things. I research those things. So I mean, the whole Vivendi Universal deal is because I was reading the Wall Street Journal and read about how they wanted to sell it. Again, my mind is focused about deals and what's going on in the world to create that kind of wealth for me. What I'm doing in Guyana right now is because I saw they discovered a large oil find in 50 years, and they're going to have $100 billion a year coming in. So I want to do $1 billion projects there. So it's because I look for opportunities. I think in that level, I am in that level. So you have to believe that you could play in that level. Because once and the only way you get to believe is you got to experience a little of it, even if you haven't done. You surround yourself and then convince yourself you're already there. So it's just getting there. What is a path? Like when I think of myself going to San Francisco, I already can picture San Francisco. I know how to get there. I just got to figure out if I'm going to take the 5 or the 101 or go on about direction how to get there. But I get there. But eventually I get there. Am I going to fly, take a train, take a car? Even if I have to walk to San Francisco, I'll eventually get to San Francisco. So It's kind of like the same thing with your goals or want to be a billionaire, or most people are happy being a millionaire. There's only like 2,000 billionaires. So that's something that's really hard for you to grasp. I know you're going to grasp millions because everybody becomes millionaires. There's so many millionaires I can't even count them anymore. Right. So people can become millionaires from where they're at pretty easily. And then once you hit the millions, then you start maybe focusing on the billions. I hit 50 million before I started focusing on the becoming billionaire. So you can take different steps. You have your big goal and you take your steps along the way, and then you start believing things more and more. And once you believe them more and more, then you do bigger things. Your challenges. You'll get to a point where you're hungry. You say hungry. You'll get to a level. Say, oh, well, I got $1 million. That feels good, but God, I just need more. I'm spending more. Then I got to 10, then 20, then 50. It'll never be enough. It's never you can never spend that money, but it just feels like you need more, and you got to just stay hungry. That's why great fighters fight. I mean, I know this movie says "stay hungry" or something, and I forgot what it is, but it's being that way. And then your mind is always open and always think on the positive side of things. And I know, but it's an education, and you learn how to do it because right now you got to watch this and people get inspired, or they read a book and get inspired. And what it does is put this really thin layer over an ocean of negative thoughts. And so you feel good, but if you go back in the world and people are criticizing and you have to suffer a little bit here and you're getting rejected, that thin wall kind of disappears. And all that negative comes right back out. So you have to keep on it's a nonstop everyday education to thicken that wall. It just thicken that positive wall until you finally get to where that whole mindset is all positive and you've just pushed out the negative thoughts completely. But it takes constant repetition, constant work with your mind, and not letting anything slip in. And once you catch yourself something negative slips in, which happens to me even time, you just shut it out right away. You just take back, and just look and focus on the positive, and then your mind will just get back on there, and then the universe will give you all the opportunities you want to get there if you just open your mind to it.
I've actually seen you have a moment of stress for about 30 seconds
Yeah.
And then you were right back to the Ramy that I know. And I'm like, I can remember thinking, how did he do that? Like that's just an admirable quality. Like that's really cool. So I think and again, like Think and Grow Rich talks about the power of auto suggestion. That's what you're talking about, right? Constantly feeding your mind with positive thoughts.
Yeah, but not only filling your mind with positive thoughts, but take action on them so you see the results of them, so you believe it even more. I
Yeah.
mean, you could think and think and think, but if you don't take any actions, then those dissipate. But just like when you go, let's say you started driving, yeah, you could think, oh, I'm positive I can drive and all that. But if you don't drive, then you forget and you're not as confident. But you start taking a test, you start driving, and you're driving every day now. Now it's
Yeah.
not even a thought; it's just second nature. So you got to make it second nature. Just hop in the car and you go. So it's
Right.
almost the same
Right.
thing simplified. So life is the same way. So you got to think, take action, go drive, go start a business, do whatever it is, and then just do it every day to where it becomes second nature. You don't have to think about it anymore. Study it, understand it, but just do it. And once you're committed to action and you do it every day, it just becomes natural. So now I don't need to read or be inspired by anybody. I just automatically do it. It's just part of my mindset. And
Right.
that's how anybody can get there, by just thinking, action, proving it to themselves, and keep on moving it forward.
So another thing about you that I admire like crazy is when I was out there at your house, I was joking and said, I need to run back to my hotel. Can I borrow your convertible Bentley? And you
Yes.
said, yes, the keys are in it. Go ahead. I'm like, right, the keys are in it. You're like, the keys are in it. Go take it. And I was like, I'm just kidding. Even your wife's like, go ahead, you can take it. And I'm like, I'm not taking your Bentley. No, but and you're like, you're so not attached to things. You're just not attached to things.
Yeah, but because it comes to right back to another principle you'll think and grow rich. What stops a lot of people is fear. I'm afraid I'm going to be broke. I'm afraid I'm going to die. I'm afraid I can't accomplish that. So same thing as losing my car and stuff like that. So I get rid of fear. So again, I put it in the book. Is the For most people, the fear of loss is greater than hope of gain. Period.
Right.
But I reversed that early on. I heard that when I was 14 years old, and I worked really hard to make my hope of gain greater than my fear of loss. So I just make sure that I don't care about anything, because once you don't care about losing things, you can lose your money or be poor, you lose your house, or I go broke again. All of a sudden, that fear isn't there. Your attitude changes. You feel more confident about yourself. The fear is not holding you back, so you take action. So it's just like part of the book, and what I think Gorosh about burning the ships. That general didn't have the fear of fighting that battle that he was outnumbered 10-1, because he had the general burn the ships, and his soldiers saw the ships were burned, and he told them, see, those ships are burned. Unless you win this battle, you're dead. So basically, they had to have confidence and belief that they could win that battle, and they got rid of that fear or their exit. Even though they might be afraid, they had to build everything without fear. But I'm the same way. That's why people steal from me or take it, or I could lose it, or I go broke so many times, and I still have the same attitude, because I don't worry about it, because I know I can always make it back. And then if you keep your mind clear, because your most valuable asset is really what's in between your head. I mean, if you believe it, I could, again, I've said it before, I could go broke again tomorrow. You put me anywhere in the world, within 6 months, I'll be one of the richest people in that area. And so it's just because I believe I can do it, and I do it. So
Yeah.
it's really very important for people to understand that, one, don't be attached to, if it's your job, your house, your car, being afraid of being poor, or being afraid that you're going to die, or being afraid one of the big things, which I think doesn't even hurt him. Fear of criticism is one of the number one killers. They're afraid of what people are going to think about them, what the family's going to say. You just get rid of all of that, and then it doesn't matter. I mean, one of the things, a few things I like about Donald Trump, he doesn't care what anybody says. I mean, he just people are going to call him all kinds of things, arrested and all that, but people still will elect him because he is so confident, and he creates emotion, and he is
Yeah.
one directional thing, but he doesn't care what the world thinks. Period. He's
And
not.
you don't
So,
either.
no, I'm a little different than him. He's narcissist, so he doesn't care. But I don't care because I really don't care. But
Right. Right. Right.
but literally, I've lost so much. I've lost big trades. I might think about it for a second, and then it's out. It's gone. Okay, on to the next. I might be broke, but I don't care because I've been poor. I've been in the streets. I've been in so many places that were so negative. I've been in mental institutions. Even the book you saw, I died for like 20 minutes. I was dead in a hospital, cyanide. So I don't fear death either because I've died and came back. I mean, and it's not that bad being dead. I mean, there's no light, there's no thing, there's no going to hell or anything else. You're just like falling asleep. So why are you afraid that you're going to fall asleep one day? Everybody's going to do it. I mean, there's no one's going to escape death. So why
Right.
be afraid of it? It's not something that you're going to escape. You can't do anything about it. You can live a better, healthier, and a more quality life when you live, but you're going to die. So don't be afraid of death. Just live better. And one of the ways of living better is thinking positively. And if you think positively and feel good about yourself, I don't know. Did you ever see that What the Bleep Do You Know?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies.
Great movie. And you remember that one of my favorite parts is when they went to water and they saw that this water, they said, I love you, and this
Yep.
glycerin, and another water, I hate you, I hate you. And it was like red, and it was nasty. And
Yeah.
then the guy approaches Marilyn Matlin, who was the actress, and says, if thoughts can do this to water and you're 95% water, what do you think it does to you?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. So every chemical in your mind, everything that happens to you, you're 95% water. Your thoughts will affect your body, the way you think, the way you
Yeah.
age, the way you feel. I every day I get only a few hours of sleep, but I have more energy than everybody else. I work 10 times as hard and everything else. I feel I'm 25 or 30, and I just had my 62nd birthday, and I know nobody says not for my age. People don't say you don't look like I'm 62 or something, and I don't act that way because I don't think that way. It's because the way I think, and
Yeah.
I have to say one of the biggest laughs I had. I don't know if I told you this story. So when I turned 60, I got a letter in the mail from the government saying, "Oh, you can retire now for $1,200 a month. You earn Social Security." I say, one, the month was funny, but two, I wasn't even thinking about retiring. I was just starting over again. So
Wow.
you could have that mindset that of retiring or be done, and that's why a lot of people when they retire, they're atrophy and they die sooner. It's
Yep.
because now you shut down your mind from learning. You're not excited about anything. Yeah, you travel and you sit by the beach, but then you just kind of like let all the negative stuff come in, and you just like you're not active. So that's why I'll work till the day I die
Yeah.
because I enjoy it. It's a game. It's fun, but I don't worry about anything, and I feel positive. So always anybody needs to watch What the Bleep, or you can look it up. Thoughts will
So
change
good.
how your body is and how you will react to things and what you'll do in life.
Yep.
It's just the way you think. So the way and the way you change your thoughts is read the right things, look at the right thing, think positively, and forget about those bills. I mean, watch The Secret. The only thing lacking in The Secret, they didn't say, "Well, yeah, you track what you think," but they didn't say take action right away.
Right.
And so The Secret is another good one. I think the only one that showed that took action right away was Jack Canfield. So The Secret
Yeah.
is worth watching just for Jack Canfield alone,
Yeah.
because after he put that thought out there and all that, he took action right away, and opportunities presented to him, and he became one of the greatest selling writers of all times.
Yep.
And so it just shows that positive thing, that thought process that you have to be in.
And
But
I'm friends with Mark Victor Hansen, who was
right,
Jack's partner in that whole deal. I talked to Mark yesterday. One of the most positive people in the world, just like you. Like things go wrong for you, things go wrong for Jack or Mark or
right.
but you don't stay in it. You quickly let it go. You
Yeah,
address it
I
as
mean,
best as you can and you let it go.
yeah, let go. Just like I give you an example because you talked about the Bentley. I don't know if you know that. Like a couple of months ago, yeah, I was just going and it was raining and there's big pothole. I hit that pothole really hard, and I went to the Bentley dealership. It's at $36,000 to fix the damage underneath. And for
Oh,
a second, I said, 30, that's a lot for just hitting a pothole. But after a few seconds, I let go. Okay, go ahead and fix it. You just can't. You just can't let go. It didn't ever bother me. And I didn't think about it again until now. But you mentioned the Bentley. But it's just a lot of people will go, "Oh, Thursday, that's unfair. I should sue the city. I should do this." Blah, blah. just forget about it. You're going to waste a lot of time and energy on the negative things. Just find positive ways of making $36,000 extra.
Right.
It's just not. They just get it fixed or done. But
Right.
most people won't have that kind of damage. I mean, different level. But you just can't let anything bother you because it's just so easy to get riled up. And you watch TV and you watch a war in Croatia, or you watch this and stuff. It's not going to affect your life if Croatia loses or Russia loses. Don't watch that thing. It's all negative. Who wins the election? Big deal. Your life's not going to change who's president. You can't get riled up about that. Just there's nothing in the world that will affect your personal life. There's 8.2 billion people in the world, and not a single thing. There's only 300 million in America, so we're not even a rounding error in what you look of around the world there is.
Right.
So, and you can look at it, if you drive down the highway, like the 405 or any highway, you have thousands of cars pass you, and you don't notice it's people just around. But you look in the window and stare at, there's a person there, and that person has their own problems and their own thoughts and their own goals. They're just like you. Everybody thinks the whole world surrounds them, is a center of it. There's 8.2 billion people who think the world is centered around them, which is not. We're insignificant, and nothing is important, and you'll be dead in no time.
So this comment on the screen, this is a really, really good buddy of mine, James Bodwin, owns a couple of businesses. He says, maybe I'm speaking for myself, but if I do 36,000 in damage, I'm pissed. How do you help him right now?
Again, it's because you're tied to that money. You're tied to the damage. You're tied to all that stuff. Just not be tied to it. And it takes practice. I mean, I'm not saying it's easy. I read a book called Running from Safety. Everybody should pick it up if you want to. And it was by Richard Bach. And he talks about detaching yourself. And once you detach yourself, then nothing is important. The money, the damage, the car. I mean, it just becomes unimportant. So it's only you're pissed because it's important to you. I mean, I give this example. Like, let me show you. The book shows a different example. Like we're talking right now with each other. Now, I just took out this business card, right? So if you take tell me one of the important things that you have in your life.
Me?
Yeah.
I love my
What do you
car.
care about a lot in your life right now?
My family, my car,
Okay, let's take your car. I'll make it simple. Now, you like me, right?
I like you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love you.
Okay, so let's say if I come to your house and I trash your house and I take a sledgehammer and just bash up your car. How are you going to feel about it?
I mean, we're going to fight.
Yeah, you're going to be angry. Now, I'm sitting here right now, and you see I have this business card, and we're talking, and I'm just ripping up this business card right now, right?
Right.
Now, I just put it out. Did your feelings change about me at all?
No, you destroyed your own business card.
Okay, so if you make everything as unimportant as that business card, because you didn't care about that card, so
yeah.
I'm just trying to help you. Got to get rid of caring about anything. And you'll see something magical happens. You become more confident. Love. I mean, if there is a Jesus Christ or something, if you believe in that, he went to the ultimate. He was there on the cross and said, "Forgive them because they do not know what they do." Right. He was able to give unconditional love, even though they were going to kill him. So basically, I found like I could love more. Like you have more unconditional love. You could do more things. You're stronger. Like. If I'm there always, like I'm married, if I'm always worried about my wife cheating on me and stuff, or what she's doing and stuff like that, then I can't love her as much. I'm holding back. I'm worried she's going to leave me. I'm worried that's going to happen. But if I sit here and say, if my wife leaves me or if my wife cheats on me, no big deal, then I could actually love her more. Then I have unconditional love because I know it won't affect me if any of those things happen. And my heart opens up and I can love her more. And then everything becomes better. I love her more. She cares for me more and things like that happen. So it's really, at first it seems like it's opposite, but it actually works in your favor the less you care. And because I don't care about the material things and I can approach things more confidently, more things come to me because I go after things harder because I'm not afraid of things. I'm not afraid of losing anything.
I've had time to process you smashing my car and I know that you're the proud owner of a couple thousand Teslas. So I'm sure you would just replace it with a Tesla. So I'm in. Come over and
Yeah,
smash my car.
yeah. Oh, yeah, it's just an example to try this. So, like anybody who's listening or audio, thinking of anything that happens to them, what they're afraid of. I'm just trying to answer what that gentleman said. I would be pissed. Yeah, but you don't have to be pissed if you don't care about it. If you look at things and say, "I don't care about that," so why am I going to get pissed? If you don't care about who's winning an election, if the party loses, either party loses, you don't care. You're not going to be pissed. You don't care who wins. I don't
Right.
care. I don't even know who's running anymore. I don't care, or anything
Right.
else in life, So
Right.
because I could start a business tomorrow, I don't care if any of my businesses blow up or don't work. It's just
Y-
like, okay, I'll start another one. And
and
so it's just,
let's talk about that because
yeah.
I know I was kind of privy to some information before this happened. You had
Mhm.
told me you told me about the article you read about Guyana, and you said I'm going to be doing business with the president of
Right.
Guyana, and I said, "Real, like, you know him?" And no, I don't, not yet, but I will.
Right.
And I'm like, really? And you're like, yeah, I have this thing being made for him. It's going to be delivered. And then when it was delivered, you FaceTimed me, and I saw this beautiful thing that you made with Muhammad Ali's boxing glove and all this stuff, and then you got on your freaking jet and flew to Guyana
Yeah.
and met with the president of Guyana, and you're now doing business, buying hotels there and everything else, man. It's like,
Right.
holy crap. And all it was I'm trying to point this out for the audience to grasp this. You see something, you make a decision that you want it, and then you create the burning desire for it.
Exactly. And,
Like,
and and that's how I do it also, like buying that gift. It was sitting in front of my office for three,
it was
four
a
months.
$50,000 gift.
Yeah, but it was sitting in my office. Didn't know I'd meet him if I were going to give it to him. It was customized with his picture and everything. So, but I believed, I knew I was going to do it. So I
Oh
did it. And,
god.
and more I looked at it, the more I knew I had to go give it to him. So I figured out ways, and then I got access by talking to other ministers and doing Zoom calls and everything. And finally got the invitation, the introduction to the president. And now I have his WhatsApp number, and we talk all the time. So,
Oh my
so it's
god.
it's really, it was a decision made, and I took action right away. Same with almost everybody else here. You got to decide on what you want, believe you can do it, and take action. I mean, it's really that simple if you really, really think about it. Yeah,
Wow.
but if I thought about it, I read about Guyana. Oh wow, discovered all this money. I could sure make a lot of money there. But well, it was a nice thought. That was all. There would have been a wish or a thought or something if there was no action behind any of it.
And now
Yeah.
you own the only decent hotel in Guyana.
Not yet, but I will. I won the bid for it, so
Oh,
now I got to finish up the process. Yeah, and again, it's nothing easy. I won the first round of bids at 65 million. Then he got a lot of political pressure. He's selling it too cheap and all that stuff. So he said, so he took away the bid, said we're not selling it. So he said, okay.
wow.
And I contacted the president. I said, listen, I want that hotel. What does it take? He said, okay, we'll put a second round, but the minimum bid is 85 million. So I went and figured out a really creative structure to get to 90 million. I wanted again at 90 million. But again, it wasn't that easy. I just said, go over there, buy cash for it. You had to go through the process, 4 months of going through the thing, reading the due diligence, putting out the bid process, and all that. Had to figure out how to work around the system and then win it. I mean, it's
Wow.
always a thought and a desire and wanted, and I didn't give up just because I lost it the first time. And if for some reason 90 doesn't structure it, I'll figure out how to get it. It's just really it's that's straightforward,
Yeah.
and if for some reason it's something that you realize it doesn't make any sense because it got too expensive, you just learn to shift. There's a million other opportunities there. I'm doing 5, 6 other projects over there right now, so
Wow.
it's really. But the whole point is the big picture is of now have a country that only has 800,000 residents. They have 16 billion barrels of oil and going to discover much more. And they have $100 billion coming in. So the whole picture is I'm going to make money off of Guyana because I have so much money. That's it. I don't care how I do it, what I do over there. If it's a refinery I'm building, or the power plant, or if it's agriculture, or if it's a hotel, I'm making money over there. Period. So that's
And
the mindset.
billions. You
Yeah,
once
billions
you
of
once
dollars.
told me you said we were talking on I mean, you and I talk often on the phone. And I told you about my digital business card, which you are the owner of a digital business
Yeah.
card by me. Um, and I said, I really want to scale this thing. I think it's great and blah, 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 blah. And you said, you got to figure out how to get it to $1 billion as quickly as possible. And I'm like, oh my God. Look, can I get it to 1 million first? How,
Yeah.
but that's the way I think my brain is programmed. And that's the way most people's brains are programmed. And you once said, I don't look at anything. I don't touch anything unless it can quickly scale to $1 billion or more.
Right. Again, that's just for me because I get a million ideas every single day. And if I don't have the time to do it, so I just have to pick and choose. So for me, I got to know it's got to scale or make $1 billion. It just if doesn't, it's not worth my time because I have 100 more ideas the same day to make something else with it. So there's opportunities every day to do that because you're opening up your mind to it and you think about it. The opportunities come to you because you believe you can do it. So why waste your time on something that's not even a rounding error again in your life that we won't even pay for the $36 damage in my car? I need to make a lot more to pay for my airplane, the fuel, and my whole lifestyle, and also what I want to do in the future. So I can't do things that'll make it a few thousand or $1 million. It doesn't move the needle for me. So it's just a different way of mentality. But that will move the needle for other people. But I'm just saying that just think bigger. You can get whatever it is, and that's why that poem that was in Think and Grow Rich, and it's my book about the guy who worked for every day for menial hire, and to at the end of his life to find dismayed whatever he asked out of life he would have gotten, and they would gladly pay him. So it's really what you ask out of life. If you ask out of life just to make a menial hire and get a small apartment and live and survive, good, life will give it to you. I mean, it's fair. He says, you want that? Okay, I'll give you that. But if you ask out of life for billions of dollars or millions of dollars, life will give you that too. But you got to believe it does. But you have to ask for it or you won't get it.
Can you just come and hang out at my house for a couple weeks?
Sure, you come hang out with me.
There you go. I told you that. I said I'm coming to LA soon. We're gonna hang out.
Yeah.
And I've done that, which is absolutely life changing. So let me ask you this. I know that you have a company. We touched on it a little bit. You have a company that you're taking public. I know you have multiple companies. Which company are you taking public, and how did that company even come about? How did it start?
Again, that's a great story. I want to touch back again. Some of the greatest wealth is made out of public companies,
right?
And in these last 5 years, when I went from broke to building back my wealth, one of the ways I took another company called Yayo, which was rideshare rental public, and then exited that and make tens of millions of dollars on that. So I've taken another company back in 1998 public. So this is my third company I'm taking public. And again, there is not always positive things or bad things, but what's great about being public is your valuation is a lot more, and you have a lot of people rooting for you because they own your stock. So and it's easy to access the capital markets, and it's something that's real out there. It's not like Bitcoin that's not backed with anything. But the story, again, everything is a thought first. When I started EV Mobility, which I'll explain what EV Mobility is, which is kind of a really great concept, is I put Teslas in apartment buildings and hotels for the tenants or guests to use by the hour, by the day. So if you're at a hotel, instead of renting a car at the airport, you can go and check into the hotel, and this car is waiting for you, and it's all electric. And then anytime you need it, you go take it for a few hours and bring it back. So you don't have the hassle of dealing with people. You do it all through an app, or you don't need to rent it for longer than you need to, or it costs you more. And then if you're in a building, you don't have to even own a car because, like in San Francisco, 50% of the people don't own cars in San Francisco, live in buildings. So instead of owning a car and you have to worry about car payments, insurance, maintenance, and gas. There's no gas because you're driving a Tesla. It's plugged in. So the $6 gas that you pay in California, you save $1,500, $2,000 a month by having a Tesla available for you to use at any time. And you're also driving a Tesla, which is really cool, and you're great for the environment. So the company came from the thought that, okay, how does everybody win? The consumer wins because they drive electric and it's cheaper for them, and the environment wins, and the building wins because they have a new amenity that they can offer to guests that can help them rent apartments easier or get people to stay at their hotels. I mean, this amenity is going to be the same as what a gym is now. And if you don't have a gym in your building hotel, you're out of touch. And
Right.
eventually this will be the number. Mobility will be an amenity that has to be in every building and hotel one day soon. So now I'm ahead of the game. So now I've signed contracts with Marriott's and Brookfields, which is the largest REIT in the world. So I have contracts to put in thousands of cars. And so now the company came from that. So it was just a thought I had. And then I just right away took action. I formed the company. I developed the app. I bought the Teslas. I started contacting some of the REITs and building owners, started putting them in the apartment buildings, make sure that everybody that worked in apartments knew about it, and email blasted them. So they did the marketing. Same thing with the hotels, signed up the hotels and made sure that they put in a little card with our QR code in every key card, and they put in the welcome email. And then it was successful. People are using the card. So one, is great to see that a thought became a great thing that uses. And this is something that scales to billions of dollars. Think of how many hotels and buildings there are in the country or the world. I can get to 10, 20, 30,000 buildings. I mean, in my projection, at 5,000 cars, I'm making $400 million a year. So imagine how big this company can get. So again, because I'm busy with Guyana and stuff, I'm going to hire really a great CEO that really understand it. And I said, you know what? I'm going to take this public and let everybody win with me, because it's a good company. The EV space, all these things, Teslas, all this stuff, get valuated pretty high. So I'm going to value my company pretty low, around the 60 to 80 million mark. So like this, it can grow to billions, and anybody invests in it, they can make a ton of money. So it'd be like how Warren Buffett was. If you own one share of Warren Buffett stock back when he started in the 60s, he never believed in splits. Now that share is what $300,000-$400,000 a share.
Wow.
And so if you imagine it for what you're going to buy for a few dollars and you had 100, Warren Buffett made more millionaires out of his stock than anybody else if you just held on to it and just forgot about it.
Wow.
You make hundreds of millions or billions of dollars by just holding that stock. So there's a lot of wealth created in the market. So this is a way to give back also, and a way for people to share the wealth by going public. And so I'm really excited about EV mobility, and you're about the first people to know, because we filed the way you go public is you hire attorneys, you find a banker, you file what we call an S1. That's your whole prospectus that you file with the SEC, that explains what the whole company. You put all the risk disclosures and all that, and then you apply with the New York or NASDAQ exchange. So I've already started that process with the SEC and the New York, but I filed it confidentially so nobody sees, and I just want to kind of surprise everybody. So you got me talking about it, so I said, okay, I'll announce it when we're talking about it. But right now it's still confidential. But it's still, we're now on the last phase with the SEC and the last phase with another 2 phases with New York. So I see in 45 to 60 days to be public, and our symbol will probably be EVMO. So I think we have that reserved and stuff. So, but it's a chance, if your listeners stuff either. If they contact you and stuff, maybe we could do something pre-IPO. But when the IPO comes, this is one stock because I priced it well and everything else. That you just take this and forget about it. Look at it a couple of years from now. It'll blow your mind where it's going to be. And don't worry about the ups and downs. Every stock goes up and down. Just forget about the ups and downs, because people panic. Again, fear. Oh, the stock might go down. I'm not going to buy it. I don't want to lose money.
Well, you told me
you back again.
You told me, I don't know, over a year and a half ago, hey, you should buy a couple of these stocks. And so I did. And I'm like, dude, they freaking crashed. And you're like, just settle down. It'll come back. And it has. It's come back. And I'm like, wow. Because I've never done it. So, like
when I started Genesis Intermediate, my first public company in back in 98, I went public at 8. The stock went to 2. And then everybody was all complaining. And then from 8, within 2 years, the stock was up 1,600%. I split it 3 times. But you see, you can't worry if it goes down or not. I just understood. I just kept on going what I needed to do, and the people who didn't believe in shorted got squeezed the hell out of it. You know, at the end, that was the one that when 9/11 happened, I ended up losing it. But still, before it went down, it was split 3 times, was up 1,600%. You know, and in the last couple of years, I went in there, and then because it was so funny, the guy at Nasdaq who delisted my first company 20 years ago ended up being head of listing, and he gave me such a hard time going public was Yayo. But I said I am going to go public with it. There's all the people who trusted and invested in me, so I went public with it, and then we went out again at $4 or $5 and something, and I wasn't allowed to be CEO. Nasdaq didn't want me to be CEO, and I put in some guy. I was too quick. I was focusing on other things, and it went down. It went all the way down to 17 cents or something like that, and I wasn't at helm. So the moment that Nasdaq decided to delist it, I went back as CEO, and within I think a year, I had it back at $6. So it went from 17. It would have been, if you bought it when I told you to buy it at 17 cents or something, you would have made, I don't know how many percent. That's 6,000% or 20. Wow. I don't know, from 17 to $6, and that's where I exited. I exited at the top, you know, and as soon as I left, it came down. So again, it's just because I believe and I know what I do, and I always back these things, but. What's great, and a lot of people have funny things around stock markets. They have warrants, they have these, they need money in, so they have these spiral converts when they get money. So what's good about this stock where I go, it's one class of stock, one standard stock, no debt in the company, and a lot of room to grow in the future, and no real weird people in there. You know, I keep my ship pretty tight. That's why I was able to create a short squeeze out of the other one. And the reason why it not collapsed is because a new guy came in and put all these debt and spiral convert where they just sold stock, fed the short. It was, so you just have to do it right. So there's a lot to learn when you go public, and it's a real great way of building wealth. So if you have a company that's ready and or has a lot of growth potential, you know, I always recommend that route if you want to really build great wealth. I mean, it's one way to go, and it's how a lot of people make money. I mean, Carl, you know, he owns some company, but he went and buying stock and went after a company. He started by borrowing from his uncle $300,000-$400,000, and now he's worth $26 billion. You know, so the market is a place where a lot of people make money. I mean, one of the most respected guys, and even though he went to jail and everything else because of Drexel Burnham, he created Jongbon. He's one of the most respected and a multi-billionaire, and all because of the market. So again, the markets are a great place. Trading is not the thing. In and out of stocks, people lose money all the time if they're trying to beat the S&P. You just have to pick the right stock or right thing that you believe in and just hold on to it. And that's what Warren Buffett did. Even though his stock did real well, but he believed in Pepsi-Cola or the insurance company did it. He doesn't sell a stock, you know, and it goes up. I mean, and just like real estate, you know that I know what's it that own the Clippers, Sterling.
Yeah,
you know. Sterling, unlike other people that buy and flip real estate and stuff, you make some money buying and flipping and everything. But you know, he has never sold a piece of property, and he also would have never sold a team if he wasn't forced to. And think about it, he started with no money. Now he's got $4 billion worth of real estate because he never sold it, and it's just through appreciation. And you know how much he bought the Clippers for back in the 80s? No. He bought it for $12 million. And while everybody was selling and flipping, he held the Clippers until he was forced to sell a few years ago and got $2.1 billion. Jeez. And he didn't want it. He had all the money in the world. he was forced to sell it. So the same with stocks. When you buy something, just believe in it or like what you buy and hold it. Don't trade it. It'll always go up and down. It's just a fact. Stocks will go up and down, whatever. Oh, the market crash or the way people feel or moods. Oh, you might have one bad quarter, but you come back if you believe in that story. So that's why when I put money in stocks, I have to believe in what that story is. Yeah. And then so this is why. I don't usually, and I wouldn't want to deal with that hassle, but because I believe in this story and how receptive all these hotels has been, I've never had one complaint, one company property throw me out, but revenue has been growing steadily and everything. And I know that all the contracts I signed, I know the thousands of buildings we're going to go into. It's just an exciting kind of a company that I can also give back. So when I focus on Guyana, this company can grow, and I still own the bulk of it. So, you know, a couple of years from now, all of a sudden I'll have a couple $1 billion extra that I didn't even think about after
right. James Bodwin said the day after he sold the Clippers, he hit a pothole in his Bugatti. look at this. I gotta show like you guys that are watching. I gotta show you this. So one day I'm sitting here, and this is Ramy, by the way. He just randomly will text me once in a while, like out of the blue, like and so I get a text message. Which I gotta show him this. So
Okay.
let me go. I'm gonna go full screen for a second. Like, can you guys see that? That is a row of Teslas. Those are all Teslas, and then there's 2 rows of Teslas as far as you can see down that
Yeah.
garage. And I'm
There was
like,
actually 6 rows. I just shot it. You couldn't get all of them.
and I'm like, what in the why is he sending me all these pictures? I said, dude, what is that? And you're like, oh, those are my that's the overflow garage or garage at UCLA, right?
Yeah, but what's important also, this is a time when nobody can get Teslas. Again, I
Yes.
found a way to get all the Teslas I want by, I met Elon Musk in at whatever that fire. Burning Man, and he was just trailing next to me and everything. I didn't think I was going to be 6 years ago in the Tesla business, but yeah, it was nice to know. But anyway, so I worked by magic in Tesla and stuff and was able to get all the Teslas I wanted. Still can't today. So this is why I can grow this company alongside Tesla. And then not only will the company be worth a lot of money, but I put myself in the position to be a great acquisition target. Because think about any OEM, which is a car manufacturer, there's going to be more and more electric cars. And the number one way that they ever sold cars in the history of time was giving a test drive of a car. So my cars being at hotels and apartment buildings and people driving and trying is like test driving the car. And I can't tell you the number of Teslas that have been sold by people driving the cars that were in the building. So I know people like Ford, or if it's Pulsar or BMW, all these people who want to sell their cars. And when the competition gets heavy and they see I have thousands of properties and they have access to millions of people to test drive their car and they can launch a model, one day somebody's going to buy my company out for a ton of money. That is just because they're going to want to have that market. They want me to replace Teslas with their model, or Tesla might buy me not to lose that effort. So I've set myself up either to grow publicly real well or to be taken out for a huge number. And if it's not OEM, it's all these rental car companies sees what I can do without anybody, because they want to go automated. Once I lock up these buildings are usually a 3-year contract, nobody gets in there. So if I'm having thousands of cars rented, a rental car company is going to want to take over to have the technology to have these cars, and everybody's shifting to electric. I mean, in California, it's mandated by 2035. It'll be illegal to sell anything but electric cars. Wow. So we're in the right space, right time. So I have different ways. I could become extremely wealthy now, being public, and wait for a few years, somebody to come and say, "Fuck, we're just going to buy you out," or something. So I've set up so many ways of making money with it, and it all started with a thought first. And again, it was a thought. I took action, and I made it happen. And now we're going public, or we'll be taken out. But it is a multi-billion-dollar idea. Again, I don't want to do anything unless it's worth billions of dollars one day, and that's how I see it. So taking this company public, it's gonna be exciting. It'd be fun to see. We'll sell out in this IPO really quick. We're doing a small, just $10-15 million raise. Doesn't need that much money, and we're gonna price it low, so it'll be a really hot stock, because I just wanted to see it just blow up and get people really excited about it. I mean,
well, we are live. We're live right now on Twitter also. And Elon watches everything I do.
Yeah, okay.
No, I'm kidding.
I'm sure he does.
Yeah. But maybe he'll call you and go, "Hey, that's a great idea. Let me just buy it outright from you."
Oh, he already does know. I talked to his people. He supplies all my chargers. We work with his charging company and stuff. He's paying attention.
Wow.
One day, I mean, I order more Teslas than I'm probably in the top 10 customers he has or something. So that's what I'm saying. One day, I'll get a surprise call. We want to buy. I have this company I just met in Vegas a couple of days ago when I was in Vegas, and they're now a technology company building apartments and houses, which is all done by the smartphone. And so you don't need a key to enter your room. You could design, like, if you're going to check in a room, I need 3-4 rooms, so you could divide up the hotel the way you want it by the phone. So he's building this whole hotel and stuff through the technology, and he wants to integrate my app into that. But you know
Wow.
what? He's now in a thought pattern, and I'm in a thought pattern. He's thinking maybe I should just buy you because you just fit exactly what we do. So it's just like you don't
Wow.
know where it's going to come from, what the surprise is going to be. But if somebody buys me before I go public, great. But if not, in 45 days they're going to be trading, and they can buy me then. Then they got to pay a premium, and anybody who buys the stock is going to benefit from it. So again, it's just, and I don't want anybody. Because I forgot. I am kind of talking about this stock, so I got to put all of the disclosures because I don't want to get in trouble with this. There's a risk of loss with buying stock. It's not guaranteed you will make money with this. You can probably lose all your money. So just any stock you buy, there's always a risk and loss. Read the S1, read all the disclosures, read the 40 pages of risk factors
Right.
before you, because I'm not gonna get in trouble with the SEC. I'm not telling you. I'm just excited about my company, and I kind of got on a tangent without letting the bankers do it. I'm not supposed to sell it. I'm not supposed to, but you got me. But just read the S1, understand there's risk. The world can blow up. I could never get another Tesla. I mean, there's a lot, but there's a risk of loss, but you just have to decide if the risk reward is there for you or not. And so just want to make
Right.
sure I get that disclaimer in there before I get in trouble with the
Yeah.
SEC, because I fought him for 7 years before. I don't want to go back in that battle before
Yeah. No.
again. So
No.
I get to
No.
find I did nothing wrong because I always do it straight. So I
Yeah.
better put that
Yeah.
disclaimer right now.
Yep.
You can lose your money if you do this, but if you believe in this and you believe in it and you read those things, and then it's not a bad stock to buy.
Right. Right. I
So,
think that, the for me, the point behind all of this, quite frankly, is, you know, you don't you don't become a billionaire by flying under the radar. You don't become a billionaire by not taking chances. You take, for example, I did that retreat in Orlando, and you texted me from 50,000 feet in the air and flying back from Guyana. And you're like, hey, do you want me to stop in? I'm like, yeah, are you serious? And and I'm like, you go, is it worth 100,000 in fuel for me to stop there? I go, dude, you're the billionaire, not me. Don't put that kind of pressure on me. But you just go. You don't think about it. I mean, you probably do, but you just go. You stomp on the gas and you go.
yeah,
You, you
but when I do think about it, I think of all the positive outcomes, all the strategies to make it work. I don't
right,
think of why I'm going to fail. That's the thing.
right.
I don't sit there and think, oh shit, if I go there, it's going to cost me 100 grand of fuel. What do I really gain out of it and stuff? No, but I did surprise you, stop by and came through you. So I don't think
You
of the
did.
negative impact of things because if there's negative that comes out of it, I fix it anyway. I figure it out, and I'm not worried about losing it.
Right.
So it's just
So
a
what you
mindset.
said, when I do think about it, I think about all the positives and the ways I can win, not any of the negatives that could come up.
Yeah, yeah,
That's so
and
powerful.
and you're a good friend. It was fun to go over there and speak to people, inspire some
Yeah.
people, and stuff like that. Nothing
Mm.
might kind of come out of it. We have a better friendship, but you never know. One of those people I talk to might one day might be part of my win factor in a business or something. I don't know. I don't plan it,
Yeah.
but I didn't know that when I met the chairman all these weeks when they were trying to buy Don Sterling's property, that I'd never do anything with him. But I was really nice to them, got their numbers, saw them, and once I started EV Mobility, I called the chairman of Brookfield, and he gave me all his property. So it's like, but you don't know. But it didn't happen almost 3, 4, or 5 years later. So you don't know what you do today, how it's going to affect you in the future. So if you keep it positive, one day, because you do a lot of things, then it'll affect you in a positive way. Then you have something to say, oh, okay, now because my Rolodex has 7,000 numbers on there, and one day I don't know if one of those
Wow.
7,000 numbers are going to do anything for me, but maybe it will. But if I do use one of those 7,000 numbers, I make sure it's a win-win scenario that they benefit. So I'm not going to call them to take advantage of anybody. So I never take advantage of anybody. That's another thing of winning. Nothing lasts unless it's built on truth and honesty, and nothing lasts if it's not everybody wins when you do a deal. So
Mm.
so you got to keep those principles in mind too. So you can't be too hungry for money that you're willing to screw people over, because that'll last a very short time. You might make short-term money, but then you get screwed. You either get arrested, you lose it, or whatever, or you'll live a miserable life because you hate yourself because you did something so negative, affected people so negatively. You're an unhappy guy. You'll die miserably and young. So it's not worth doing it unless it's a win-win and it's positive. Then you'll have the same attitude I have. You're happy about everything, nothing matters, and then people really like you and respect you, and they know even if you did a deal and you lost money because you treated them honestly and you showed it and you were transparent and you
Yeah.
worked your hardest, you did everything you can. They can't be upset with you. You gave it your shot and you did it and you went beyond what normal people. I mean, I remember when I took Yayo public and said the whole thing about Yayo was to do a meta search app where I put Uber, Lyft, taxis, everything in one app, and I raised millions of dollars and spent millions developing this. And at the end, the API, Uber and Lyft didn't want to share the API, so I couldn't make the app work. So instead of me telling all the investors, "Oh, you lost your money, it didn't work, and everything else," I pivoted. I thought, okay, what does Uber and Lyft need that they will embrace? And I realized that they always are looking for drivers and with good cars and everything else. So I shifted the model where I bought brand new cars and people that needed cars in a job, which are underserved people. I rented them the cars and they drove for Uber and Lyft. So it was a
Right.
win-win. So I shifted the model, but I could have done that. Was dumping all that company, own more of it because I already sold a lot of it, raising money, and own 100% of it because the new idea worked. But instead, I kept everybody in place, didn't screw anybody, and all these original investors, after I went public and all that, it multiplied the money by 200-300x minimum. So
Wow.
again, those people will always invest with me. But if I decide to screw them and dump that because that idea didn't work, then where would I be at with them? So well, then you start something else. So I felt better, even though I owned less of a percentage. I still made a ton of money on it, but I felt good that I made it work for them by shifting, and they experienced.
Yep.
If thing wasn't working right, it was getting excited. I spent a ton of money from everything from creating hip hop videos around it, pre-selling the app, everything. But then had to shift and abandon everything into a direction. But it became extremely successful. We rented out as many cars as we can buy. So it was and took that public. So it's really very important that you don't just think of your investors first, think of people first before yourself, and you'll feel
Yep.
better about yourself, and then you'll have them for the future. So it's just not worth taking advantage of. Like I know you told me about your partner. So he took advantage. He was a negative thing, and he won't last very long because people see through those things and people won't
Yeah.
back them anymore. You won't support them anymore, and
Right.
people like you better more, so people support you better. So it's very important to always stay straight in
Yep.
anything you do.
There's people ready to buy the stock. I actually have gotten text messages from people already that are on here that are like, "Hey, I want in on this stock when he's ready." So,
Yeah. Well,
um,
I'll let you know. I mean, if everybody registers either on winwithramy.com site or in my Can You Really Think and Grow Rich, you don't have to buy the book. You just register. I'll let everybody know, or they can let you know. And then when it's ready for the IPO, and even if you don't have an account, the banker who's taking us public, which is West Park, they'll open an account for you right away, and you can buy stock there and stuff. Or if you have an account, you can buy the stock when it's already trading.
wow.
You can be part of the IPO or buy it afterwards. Either way, you can be part of, because wherever it's at now at 60-80 million, wherever we decide to take it out, when you look at it 2 years from now, you're going to say, shit, it's at $2 billion. Shit about it when it was at 60 million. And
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter where you buy it. But again, disclaimer, I'm not telling you it's going to $2 billion. I can't assure that. You can lose it all. It could go to zero.
Right.
So you cannot. I,
Yep.
and people got in trouble. I mean, even Musk got Twitter trouble when he just tweeted, "I'm going to take Tesla private." Then the SEC
Yeah.
was all over him. So you
Oh,
have to be
they went
really. That's one of the
crazy.
things about being public. You got to be careful what you say, especially as a CEO. I can't
Yeah.
promise anything. I can't say anything. You have to see the vision. You got to make your own decision. You got to read the disclosures. And if you want to buy, then still do it because you believe in it and you read and understand the risks.
Yeah.
Again, just putting it out there. Don't want to get in trouble again. I just get excited when I talk about things. So don't take
Yeah.
my excitement as me trying to subvert any SEC laws or anything. So just
Well, I again, I mean, I don't even like calling you a big thinker. it seems almost like a huge understatement because I mean, dude, you've been to you were at the Playboy Mansion many times at parties, and I mean, you've done so many amazingly big things in life.
Yeah.
Nothing stops you. Nothing holds you
No,
back.
and it wasn't only going to Playboy Mansion. I became really good friends with Hugh Hefner. He flew on my plane. I took him to Vegas. I was there
What?
every party for 12 years. So I do everything the right. Just going to a
Wow.
party wasn't good enough for me. I wanted to get in that mansion and be part of that ecosystem because that was when I worked so hard to make the first billion with Adman that I just want to take a break and just party and play for 3-4 years. So that's
Yeah.
what I did in Vegas. What I did in Playboy. I did in Hollywood. They did
Yeah.
actors.
Yeah.
I just went crazy for 4 years, but that's my focus at that time, and
Yeah.
that. But I still achieved everything I decided to do, and I played harder than anybody else. But then it got old for me. I was wanted to get back into business and do what I did. So I experienced what I needed to experience in that, and he died and everything else. But at least I had that experience, and so
Yeah.
I could have wrote instead of that one book, I could write 1,000 books because every chapter of my life, everything I've done is another book. I mean, just taking one company public, I could write a book on that.
Yeah.
The Playboy era was public. The Khashoggi years, that was 10, 15 years. Every single week or month or deal or transaction is another book.
Yeah.
So, but I try to condense everything in this one book to explain. And Troy, who reads it, we do it every Saturday at 11
Yeah.
o'clock, when it was very, I think we're on the last chapter, but all the past videos are on there for every chapter if you really want to study it, because it's really
Yeah.
good. You learn a lot. But he says it in a way which I really liked how he presented it. He says, don't worry about doing what I do. Just think the way I think. That's all you have to do,
Right.
because you're going to do the things that you want to do in life. Don't worry about me working with Khashoggi or doing this or working in this company. That's none of that is really that important. You get there anyway. Just think the way I think is all that you need to do. So if you start shifting the way you think, then whatever your endeavors are, you become successful with. So, and he explains that and points it out. So, like when you do the study and look, it's when with Ramy, and you look and you read, all you have to do register. It's free, it doesn't cost anything. And I'm doing this to help people out. And he's had every single chapter there. He spent a couple of hours on the chapter, and then I usually come in, I recap it, and I take some questions so people really fully understand it, because he can actually spend a whole 2 hours on just one sentence and really get deep into it. So the book is not meant. Yeah, you could read it in a couple of hours and say, "Oh, this is a great book. It's an easy read." But the book was really meant to really study. Just like Thinking of Rich, I read it 100 times. You studied over and over. I mean, even if you just go to the Bible, nobody just reads the Bible once if they really believe in God and everything else. You study the Bible. You read it over for the rest of your life. Every chapter, every sentence, every meaning, and the preachers talk about it.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you should take Thinking of Rich or my book or any book you decide that really resonates with you. Study every line, understand what the author is trying to tell you or explain. Or there's more meaning to every sentence than just a quick read. I mean, you could study the one book for a lifetime and not get everything that you need. I mean, if you studied Buddhism and the teaching of Buddhism, every teaching, it's a lifetime of studying. These monks stay years and years in their monks just studying the things and meditating on every word. So this is, again, it's a way of building also that positive mindset, getting rid of all that negative set by studying it, because all you're doing is studying all the positive things that enters your mind and becomes part of your subconscious. It becomes part of your habit, part of the way you think every day, and it becomes second nature after a while if that's all you think about. And it's amazing. Your mind is just like a radio station, and the universe is this amplifier that has all the knowledge. That's why everything that came to the guy who built the Coral Castle, or Einstein, or anybody that great things, or build or Steve Jobs, or any created a computer, or Marconi created radio. Everyone never thought that you could travel. They put him in an institution in his family when he said he could travel sound through the air. I mean, but all that information is in the universe, and the only way you could to get there is get your mind opened up by creating that emotional feeling and opening your mind and thinking that hard. And then instead of your station gets tuned into 93.1, that is, maybe that's all the information you need to build a great company around EV, or 96.7. That's all the information that you need to have great medical breakthroughs. 99.6 is what Einstein needed to get the mathematical equation of the universe. So it's kind of like out there, and you're basically a radio station trying to tune into that area. And the only way you can move the needle of tuning in is building that burning desire, and then thinking about it so much that you start tuning into the information that the universe is giving you to achieve your goals, and then take action on it. I mean, because you'll get the information. That's without a doubt. I absolutely 100% assure you, you will get the information to succeed, but then you have to take action once you get the information.
I think that so many people, you know, I've been in sales my entire life, like for the most part, right?
Right.
And so many people are given an opportunity to do something that could literally change the trajectory of their life for the positive, and they're programmed by other people throughout their entire life to take your time, be careful, rich people are evil, like all of the things, right? And they miss out on a life of amazing things because they live captured by fear nonstop.
It's all fear-based and criticism and stuff like that. And the people who say, you know, money is the root of all evil, the people who don't have it.
Right. Right.
I've been broke and I've had money, and I know I'm a lot happier when I have money, and I'm a lot more confident. I could do a lot more things. I mean, you know, how great it is. Like, I'm going to take my wife to south of Italy. I'm going to take her on my jet and rent a yacht. I mean, do you think she's going to have a better birthday and anniversary than if I'm totally broke and I took her to dinner
McDonald's
as a sizzler? I mean, it's so money is only bad if you use it for bad things. You could have a negative mindset, have money, and you do destructive things. Money is good for people who think positively and cares about people and cares about the world and the world around them. So anyway, so forget that saying it's a root of all evil. It's just, you know, it is for people who wants to use a negative purpose. Living an extraordinary life. It's just, we're around here one time. Like I said, I died at 20 minutes. You know, I was out for 3 weeks, so I had that death experience. There's no light. There's no nothing. You know, I was dead. Luckily, they revived me, and I woke back up. There's nothing after you die. So you're around there here. And then if you count it in days, and we've talked about this, from the day you're born, and if you die an average of 77, you only have 24,000 days to live. You know, or 77 summers if you want to go there. And I don't know, you're how old right now?
38.
You're 38, is it?
No,
are you ready?
No, I'll be 55 next month.
Okay, at 55, I'm 60. You only have 5,000 days left to live if you live average days.
Stop that! You're gonna depress me.
No, it's not supposed to be depressing. You have to take advantage of life then, because if you know you only have 5,000 days to live, what are you going to do? Are you going to waste a day sitting in front of a television, being a couch potato, or thinking negative thoughts, or worrying about your life? Then those 5,000 days get to 4,000, 2,000, 1,000. Then you have no days left, and you've done nothing with your life. I mean, if the purpose of life is pursuit of happiness and stuff, I don't know what the purpose is, but I know it's not to be a failure and a victim in life. You know, so at least. Not be a victim, and at least be captain of your soul and do things in life that you can enjoy. So that is when, if you do die, you know, at least you've done something. I mean, I don't know still what the purpose of life is, but I still definitely know it's not being a victim. And you have such a short time. And when you think it's 5,000, even 24,000 days from the day you're born, think about it. And I've said this, I think, in one of your other calls. I mean, the universe is what, 12 billion years old. The world is 5 billion years old. When the dinosaurs lived here 100 million years ago, they lived 176 million years on Earth. You know, and as humans, the way we are, we've only been on Earth for 100,000 years, a speck of time, and we live what? Even if we get to 100, you know, in billions of years old, where it's a speck of time, it's insignificant. And when you think of how small a world is in our Milky Way, it's a speck in the universe. We don't matter. I mean, it's just like the universe, you know, takes you look at things and they say that's trillion light years away that they're looking at something. That's how long it took light to travel in a trillion years, and light travels at what, 165,000 miles per second. So so when you think of our lives and what we have, it's such a short time, and this is why I get happy every day, because why am I going to be is waste one of those thousands of days? I only have 4,000 days left, basically, if I live to the average of 77. But even if I live longer, it's still only thousands of days. Or
Right.
if I'm 62 and it's 77, I only have 15 summers left to live. And time goes by faster every day. So you ask me why I have a positive attitude. Why am I going to waste a day having a negative attitude about anything, or act like I'm a victim or suffer for anything? I mean, it's not worth it. It's just absolutely not worth it.
Look, like James Bodwin says here,
Mm-hmm.
live life, crash a Bentley.
Exactly. Who cares? I'm going to spend how many days worrying about $36,000 in Bentley, a month of worrying and stress over it? I just wasted 30 days of my thousands, and they add up pretty quick.
Dude, it was only a $36,000 repair. Come on, you made that in the last hour.
I know, but I'm just saying for other people. I'm not the average example. I'm what people I want people to aspire to be. I don't write the book. I don't do these talks to make money or to show off. Because I'm pretty confident about myself. I'm pretty happy. I don't need to let people know. I'm always in jeans and t-shirt, and regular public people think I'm a regular person. So, but it's my confidence and stuff. People respect me no matter what, because they see I glow with energy of leadership and confidence. It doesn't matter where I am. People still give me the respect because it's what I project, and that's the way I think and all that.
People see you walking in and out of places in Beverly Hills and probably think, "Oh, look at that poor homeless guy."
They know it's the energy I give. They don't feel very,
I know,
but they give respect, and it's so funny. Girls here, let's give you a funny thing. If you tell a girl in LA that you have a job at 9 to 5, they won't date you. They only date the people without a job because they know they have the money. That's just a funny thing in LA. But anyway,
look, my buddy Eric Sorensen says, who needs Chat GPT when you have Ramy? His brain is insanely brilliant. It really is. You just know these things.
No, it's because I conditioned it. Chat GPT, AI is going to be brilliant. It's going to help a lot of things, but you got to figure out how to use it in your favor and make your job, because it can make everybody more lazy, not think, and everything else. But you got to think. I'm really afraid of what's going to happen to this next generation, because they don't have to do homework anymore. They don't have to study their books. They ask Chat GPT to write an essay, and they have it. It is really it is going to be a big paradigm shift because of AI. But learn how to use it in your favor. Makes things even easier and make you work harder. But don't stop learning, because your mind will die in atrophy. And I don't know how. Maybe you got to make sure your kids doesn't get lazy and doesn't just use chat. I mean, but it's useful, but it's going to get even better as time goes on. But it is a dangerous thing, and even Elon Musk is against it. But it is really an interesting time we're living in. So not use that, but it is like you won't get to my level of thinking if you use because there's no critical thinking that you're using. There's no studying. There's no studying the world and the universe. If you just get answers right away and you hand it in, you don't have to think.
Well, you have to think of the right things to ask it. Like, you have to come up with really creative prompts.
But it still writes it. I mean, I asked Chat GPT to write me a script because I want to do a movie on Cat Stevens' life, because it was really like. So I told him write a script on Cat Stevens' life, and believe it or not, it wrote a script.
I know.
The writers are in trouble. And so it's not that hard to ask the right thing. If you say write an essay on how to cure cancer in 10 years, it'll write it for you. So it's too easy to ask those questions. What I'm saying is, it's better to study and understand how to cure cancer. Yeah, it's almost like the old saying goes back. If you give somebody a fish, if you could feed him for a day, but if you teach him how to fish, he can eat for a lifetime. Yeah. So this AI is almost like giving somebody a fish, but they won't for a lifetime, because if something happens or whatever, maybe it's gonna be like the Terminator. All the AI is gonna take over, and now you're gonna have to fight the computers because they're taking over the world, exterminating all the humans. Yeah. So you're gonna have to, if you don't have that critical thinking of how to outwit the computer, then humanity is doomed. So,
and that's why Elon Musk is afraid of. I don't think he's against it. He's against non-governance of it. Like like
Well,
not
but
having.
he's just saying because if you let
Yeah,
it go, because you don't
yeah,
know what's happening in that black box. It's learning itself.
I
It could be
know.
smarter than you are. So,
I
but
know.
there's too much money to be made, so it's going to be hard to control this governance or not. It, that computer is going to be so smart, no matter what human being brings up with laws, they're going to figure out that computer is going to figure a way around that. So, so there's
Yeah,
no controlling this thing. So
yeah,
now it's really, and there's no controlling it because now the last 2 years, billions of dollars have gone in there, and even that one stock which is that's into AI, it's the first $1 trillion stock already in AI. There's too much money in it for it not to go crazy, to be used for bad. So it is
yeah,
something to watch out for, but not negatively. Just figure out how to use it in your favor.
yep.
But it is something that if anybody has kids, to let them learn anyway. You have that tool, but don't not work it. I mean, think about now because of calculators and stuff. People used to be able to do math off their head all the time, but now you don't do it. Or even spell check. I'm the worst. I have the worst grammar. I spell everything wrong, but because spell check, I don't bother learning the words because it corrects itself. So
Right.
AI is going to be like a turbo version of that by a
Yep.
lot.
I
You
I
know,
had a I had somebody I interviewed on my show, Ramy, that English is her second language, and she's from I forget where, but she sent me her bio, and I was like, I don't even know how to rearrange these words to
yeah.
make it a bio, and I didn't have a lot of time, so I just took it, copied it, and pasted it in. I said to Chat GPT, rewrite this bio, and make it perfect English or whatever I told it, and boom, man, 15 seconds, it was done. It was
I know.
perfectly.
The same thing. My COO, how I have to put everybody's bio in the public offering. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh,
I told him give me your bio, and it was like 6, 7 lines. I said, go to ChatGPT and give me a real bio. Within 5 minutes, he sent me a 2-page bio that
right.
I had to Laura's condense it to. It's crazy what this thing can do, and
It's insane. Yeah.
so it's really it is. But you gotta look at it. It's a way in the future if anybody hasn't done anything, and I have talks where people are in this AI stuff that people are making a lot of money, and I have a guy who just invested a couple hundred million of the company. He's already worth billions more because it uses AI to figure out. So there's some good with it that they test the drugs on these diseases instead of taking 2 years to test it in every permeable way. It does it in 8 days. So his company is now worth a lot. His platform of testing drugs and stuff is now shortened 2 years into days. So there's good uses for it that you can use it, but you gotta just be careful with it and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's
I think it can it's taking data, and it's
yeah,
just it's compressing the heck out of time, man.
yeah.
It can
So use it in your favor, just like these people, but don't not stop learning.
right.
You got to keep on learning. I mean, it is what going to keep your mind active and grow and everything else. Try to outsmart that computer. Those guys who try to play chess against a computer and loses every time, but still they get better at chess because they're playing the computer.
Yep.
But you have to improve your mind all the time.
Yep.
And also, if you get lazier in your mind, more negative thoughts will come in because you feel powerless. And if you start feeling powerless, you start getting afraid, and then you
Yep.
start getting more negative about yourself. And this is why all these young kids also are so many suicides and stuff like that. It's bad enough social media making them feel ugly, and they need to come up to the level of looks of touched photos and stuff like that, and they kill. Imagine how these kids are going to feel when they feel they're not even smart enough to even understand anything because ChatGPT does it. So it'll weaken your mind and get you into the dark side of your mind and negative if you don't use your mind to learn and be positive. And I mean, I can do what I do. I mean, like I said, you could take me again broke in the middle of nowhere, and I could build wealth again. Is because the knowledge of a lifetime that I built in my mind and the
Yeah.
knowledge of the principles and everything else has created my mind to be this unlike most people's mind that I could do that with. But if I was everything was given to me, that's why I have less respect. Or you see these people that money just been given to them because they inherited, so they
Yep.
didn't learn it on their own. The moment they lost their money, they're committing suicide or they can't do it again. It's
Right.
done. I mean, I have good friends that just that commit suicide stuff because it just but when the crash happened 29, how many people jumped off the roof and all that,
Yeah.
because they had money, lost it all, just because they didn't believe in themselves. They didn't think they're gonna make it back again.
Right.
And so knowledge and learning yourself is so much better than giving to you. I mean, it's so easy to be given to, and it's so easy that you want to take it. It's knowledge you want to do it. It's one thing when you had this crunch, you needed that the guy's bio, but
Yeah.
it would have been better if he learned how to write his own resume, and if he had time, then he understand how to structure it, and then he could really tell his own story the way it should be. But anyway, we
Yeah.
got off on a tangent on AI, but but it
Yeah.
is also trying to get to the point that you've got to learn, you've got to know. Don't let things take over your mind. Don't be a victim. Don't you don't want to be a puppet in the universe too either. You want to be a leader. You want to have people follow you, and the way people follow you is because you can show you have that knowledge, that strength. People can trust in you that you'll make the right decision, that you're not depending on other things. And it's one of the talks I'll be giving in the next month or two, because once I finish the chapters, I'm going to talk all about leadership and what it takes to be leaders. What it took for Apple be what they are, which Simon Sinek does a great job with it, or Martin Luther King, why his leadership, why people showed up after. There was no internet back then or anything, but it was communicated enough because the way his leadership and what the message he had, 350,000 people showed up at the right place at the right time, just because of the kind of leadership he had and how he made people feel and think. So it's all that is because he believed in something, emotion. He thought about it. He understood the just causes of the way things should have changed for how injustice was going on in the 60s. So all that. So I sometimes wish. I mean, I think people were better off back, 100, 200 years when it wasn't so assisted. That's why those great industrialists that built America, and it's a great. You should watch it on the Netflix.
So
The
it's so
industrialists.
good.
It's so good, and you see how Rockefeller,
Yeah.
Mellon, all these guys built, Vanderbilt built this country out of nothing, and it's all because they had to learn on their own. And even when we became independent, think about it, we were against the most powerful army in the world, the English back then. We were a colony, and we were less. There was no chance we were going to win. Nobody gave us a chance to win. In the beginning, it looks like we didn't win, but because we learned, the battles. Like, okay, we figured it out. And if you had ChatGPT, you wouldn't figure out how to win a guerrilla war. Like, they figured out that this English army, like one of the tactics that I had was, I studied that also, was they automatically went and took out the generals. Because once they took out the generals, the soldiers didn't know what to do. So they had an advantage and swarmed them. So they always, in every battle, they took out the leader first and concentrate on that, then they could win those battles.
Yeah.
And then they learned how to work with the French, so they helped them and stuff like that. So they became very creative to win this war and become our independent country, what we are today. Then you have, think about the mastermind group that was put together to write the Constitution. You think ChatGPT they could have created the Constitution with the knowledge they had? They had to get creative in how to build a democratic country, a country of the free and one for the people, and build the greatest country ever made. And that took mind, because a computer and all that is not connected to the universe with all that information. It's only connected to everything that's being fed from the internet and everything else. So if you want to be really connected to the universe, where there's really infinite amount of knowledge of new creative thinking, then you have to use your mind, not a computer or a program, because it's only given to what it's fed. So it's
yeah. And part, I think the biggest part is, like you talk a lot about, I mean, your book is called Can You Really Think and Grow Rich? Right? Here it is.
Right.
And for those of you that haven't read it yet, what rock have you been living under? Go get the book and Can You Really Think and Grow Rich.com. Go get it. It'll change your life. I promise you. But you talk a lot about this book.
Yeah, but that's
there, right?
Yeah,
you've read this book.
Yeah, there's a lot of segments of that book in my book, because that is the book that made me what I am today. I left 12, read that book, believed everything it said, and I went from homeless to 17, by 17, made a first million, went broke. 23, made a 50 million, went broke again, chasing after Adnan, made $1 billion by 38. That book, and if it wasn't for that book and those principles, I wouldn't have achieved nothing. I would have been a homeless guy in the streets, maybe working at a restaurant, whatever. I don't know. But
now
I had to learn.
you've owned an airline company, right?
Two
Hawaii.
airlines, Aloha and the one in Alaska. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
you've had all these things, and you think about your story about like you went from $50 million in net worth to zero, going after Adnan Khashoggi because you wanted to be in his life. You wanted to
Yeah.
be his right arm,
Yeah, and
and
be him and be a billionaire. But I had to
yeah,
take all those principles, burning the ships and everything. So everything I
yeah,
learned in Think and Grow Rich is what I applied to my life. So I wasn't afraid of it. I mean, and especially when you think about it, I was just homeless and struggling, and I
right,
finally got 50 million. I felt, oh, finally, I got a lot of money. I got this great sports car. I had the best house in Tampa, Florida. I bought the Riverside Botanical Gardens on the river. Had 5,000 species of plants. Had an
wow,
aviary, peacocks. Had monkeys. I had a life that nobody had
wow,
back then in the 80s. And then I saw Adnan and Lifestyle Rich and Famous and richest man in the world in his life. And after the show, I said, I ain't shit. I have nothing. I stopped short of what my goals and my dreams are. And I just decided to burn all the ships, sold it at a fire sale for less than what it was worth, just to go after what my dreams were and what I wanted. But again, I only it was, and that's what I wanted to do. And as many times I caught myself where I said, okay, this is great, it feels good, I'm happy, but then I realized this is not what I want. I want much more than this,
yeah.
and I know I can achieve much more than this. So why am I going to settle for this? So
Well, and
anybody who's sitting there settling because they feel this is about all they can do,
right.
or they're happy, they're comfortable, they're missing out. I mean, I am glad I'm the kid that everybody beat up on in school, because think about it. If you're in high school and you're the captain of the football team, and you're dating all the girls and you're very popular and everything else, are you going to really try hard? You don't have to try. It's all coming to you and stuff. Or is a kid that's being beat up on and rejected is going to try hard to prove himself in life that he's better than everybody else? So I'd rather have my path than the path of being popular and have it and given to you. So I'm glad I wasn't the best looking guy in school. I'm glad I had no friends. I'm glad I was beat up on, because if I was the captain of a football team, had all the girls that come in there, had all the friends and partied all that, I would have achieved very little in life, because I wouldn't have to, because I was comfortable. It was happy. It was good. But I was glad I had to suffer. So I always tell people, if you have to suffer in life, that's a good thing. I don't look bad at people suffering. I said, this is a time that you grow the best. And the times I always learned the best or grew from is when I failed and had to suffer, and I became bigger and better. Because
Yep.
you learn through your failures, not from your successes that much. Because then it's too easy. You're successful, you do the same routine because it's working. You just keep on doing the same thing, and so you don't grow. I mean, so failure, suffering, pain, all good stuff. Embrace it, use it to grow. Use those emotions to mix it with your desire to burn and grow further. Don't take it as a victim. So, oh wow, this happened to me. I'm giving up on life. I'll just live off welfare. And just till the day I die. And then you will die sooner, and you will die with absolutely nothing in your life, and you'll be unhappy. So, but that
It's
is
crazy.
that is what you've asked out of life, and that's what you're bargaining with life, and that's what you decided. So whatever you decide is what you're going to get. And I've decided something else, and you're
Wow.
deciding on something else. And I want
Yep.
people to decide on something else for their lives if they want to do it, and it will come to them. And just read that one poem. I didn't get it when in Think and Grow Rich when I read that poem the first few years, but it took me about reading it like 50 times, and I finally that's what he meant, because it was in different English. It was old English, is an
Yeah.
old poem when he
Yeah.
said, bargain in life and all that, and then it was fair. And then I finally got what the poem really said. It said what he worked so, day to day in his job, and he barely made any money and stuff. And
Yep.
finally, after a while, he realized whatever he asked out of life would have gladly paid. I mean, basically, whatever he decided he wanted, he would have gotten. And he just
Yeah.
had to make that decision. But he just asked to be paid this much, and that's all he gets. It's almost like if you go to a restaurant and you sit there, if you don't ask for your filet mignon dinner and you're just sitting there, you're just going to get bread and water
Right.
all night. If you don't
Right.
ask for your meal, you're not going to get your meal.
That's right.
And if you ask for a grilled cheese sandwich, that's what you're going to get. But if you ask for surf and turf and lobster and fillet, that's what you're going to get.
Yep.
So it's really, I'm trying to make it that simple. Life works exactly the same way. You're
Yep.
asking for the universe to get what you want out of life. So order it and then go after it. And also, if you don't then go eat it, you're not going to enjoy the fillet. If you don't take your knife and fork and cut the thing and eat it and enjoy it,
Yeah.
that it takes all action, verbalizing, I want this, can you order this? All this is action. So if you look at it in simple things, everything you do is a thought first. You take action, and then you benefit from the rewards of it. Same thing in life. It's just a bigger way of doing things. You think about it, you ask for it, you take action, then you get the benefit of whatever you ask out of life. But be careful, that's why the poem says, whatever you ask, you're gonna have to bear the task of living it, because that's all you
Wow.
ask for. And
I,
so
I hope everybody watching is getting this, because that is probably right there the most powerful part of this entire conversation in the last hour and 44 minutes. Can you believe we've been on here an hour and 44 minutes? That's crazy.
I know, that's why I could go on for hours, and we'll still go on for hours, except I would take like a 2-second break, because I have to get a charger and plug my phone in, because I'm talking off my phone.
It.
It's only like 5-10 seconds left, 5-10 minutes says on there, but it's burning down. So I'm just going to get a charger real quick,
ahead.
a portable charger, and plug it to my phone. I'll be right back.
I'll take you off screen. Go ahead. Wow. Are y'all getting this? Like, holy moly. That's incredible. Everything that he just said. And that poem, let me see if I can find it, because I love that poem. It's one of my favorite poems. I doubt if I'm going to find it. Wow. Listen to that negativity that just came out of my mouth. See? What you say, what you speak into the world, I got to be careful. We all have to be careful. I said, I doubt if I'm going to find it. That's not good. I'm going to find that poem right now. Right now. So, bargain for, where is that? I need to find, I'm looking through Ramy's book right now. Hey, Victoria, how are you? It's so good to see you. James Bodwin's still here. Jaime Gonzalez is in the house. Hold it. Dr. Jaime Gonzalez is in the house. Great to see you, my friend. Let's see. Eric Flanoy, Jackson Crisp. Love you, brother. It's good to see you. Jackson is such a good dude, man. If you guys don't know Jackson played in the NFL. I don't even know how long you played, dude. That's terrible, isn't it? Here it is. I'm going to read this poem to you. Ready? Here it is. I told you I would find it. I found it. It's on page 27 in Ramy's book. I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. However, I begged at evening when I counted my scanty store. For life is a just employer. He gives you what you ask. But once you've set the wages, why, you must bear the task. I worked for a menial's hire, only to learn dismayed that any wage I had asked of life, life would have willingly paid. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine? And I had Eric Sorensen on the other night talking about his book, and there's going to be a day when you die, and if you believe what I believe, what Eric believes, what a lot of people believe, there's going to be a day when you die when you meet the person you could have become. There's going to be a day when you die when you meet the person you could have become. Are you ready to meet that person? Are you that person that you could have become? Let's bring Ramy back on. Ramy, are you that person?
That person. Yeah, but you see how powerful that poem is?
It's so powerful.
I mean, you have to really study. You can study line by line on that poem. It kind of spells it out. And again, all this is universal truth. It goes back, it's not only back to even Think and Grow Rich in 1937. This goes back thousands of years. A lot of stuff of that is in the Bible. It goes back to the beginning of time. It even goes back to the beginning of the universe. If the universe wasn't aggressive at all this chaos and destruction, the universe started with just two molecules, and it's all this chaos and movement and that created all these complex molecules for us to be able to exist, to become humans and stuff like that. And then these principles, it started way back then. If you do read the Bible and stuff, again, I'm not a religious person, but there's a lot of these principles put in there if you ignore the rest of the stories and thing. So it goes back. It worked. That's why truth and things that will last the test of time. If it's not the truth and stuff, it just falls off. Just like great music that are great last the test of time. You still hear it today. So all the information that's in Think and Grow Rich or that poem or my book and stuff, it is a stuff that is built out of truth and the principles, and it'll be as powerful before. It'll be a powerful 1,000 years from now, because it's just a universal truth of how the laws work in humanity and how we work. We're attached to the universe. We're all in one. If you break us down to the molecules, we're the same as wood or any part of the thing. We're just stardust. We're part of the universe, and that's a universal law that we're practicing. But we're now translating it into wealth or anything we want. And it doesn't have to be about money. I mean, if you read my book, I talk about fighting the government. I used those principles to beat the government after 7 years, not to indict me. And if I gave up, most people would have made a deal. They always offered me, take 3 years or you're going to face 100 years. And I said, no, I'm not guilty. I haven't done anything wrong. Just because you're on a witch hunt because of 9/11, I'm not going to give up and take 3 years, period. I'd rather fight and get 100 than give up and take 3. So at the end, I fought them for 7 years, but they ended up, the letters in the thing, they gave up and sent me a letter. We're not going to probably, after 7 years, they couldn't find I did one thing wrong. They had all the government, all the FBI agents, all this, the power of the government after 7 years couldn't indict me because no matter what, they can find one thing wrong because I knew I don't do anything wrong. So those principles work for that. Or for great love, I mean, chasing my wife that said no and rejected me for months, for 4 months, almost 6 months, to finally to get her to say yes. Again, principle works for that. So those principles are not only for money, the universal truth to work for anything. And that's why I try to put those different examples. So if you want something else, maybe you want to be the greatest athlete. I mean, you've met Willie Gault. Willie Gault is a good friend of mine. I think he's the greatest athlete ever been. He is my age, 62, and still breaking world records in track. He is a fraction of a second off when he was 19, when he won the gold medal. He won the Super Bowl. He played basketball. He played baseball. He did every sport. But it was his mindset. He started off really young. He used to have in Georgia, in Griffith, Georgia, he used to have the school bus drop him off before the school, and he was trying to race the school bus to beat the bus to school, and then he'd have him drop him off sooner every time and try to beat the bus. I mean, his whole mindset from when he was a kid, he wanted to be a great athlete, and he did it, and he still is today. He's got 6% body fat. You look at him, you think he's 25.
He's ripped.
He is ripped. I mean, I wish I could look like him. I am heavy and everything else because my goal is not to lose weight. The moment I decide to look good and lose weight, I'll do it. But that's not my goal right now or my mindset. So I did one time. I had a company that I was calling, it was Zerveo. It was a multi-level thing. I was selling this thing for diet. I said, well, if I believe in it, I have to do it. I actually lost 100 pounds in less than 3 months. I have a picture somewhere where I was before and after, and I was so skinny. So again, I set my mind on that. But right now, my mind is focused on Guyana and other things. It's not focused on on me losing weight because I'm still feeling good. And so one day I'll refocus on losing some weight, but right now,
look here. I got to show everybody this picture. So there's me and Ramy and Willie Gault.
Yeah,
and I'll let you guess. Willie's the skinny one.
the one that's fat. Yeah.
So Willie's such a great guy, man. And that's the other thing, a second ago when you got up to leave, I don't know if you heard me catch myself, but I said, here, let me find the poem in Ramy's book. And I started flipping and I go, I'm not going to be able to find this poem. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's negative. Stop that right now. You're going to find the poem. And I found the poem. So you got to get control of your thoughts. And you talk about that so much, so much.
And that one saying is true. He says, if you believe you can't, you're right. If you believe you can, you're right also. So no matter what, you're right. So it's really up. The decision is all up to the individual. Is no outside forces, no government, no anything. Look at Nelson Mandela was in jail for what, 25, 30 years. And he came back and became the greatest leader Africa ever had, and freed apartheid. You think he wasn't in there saying, oh, well, me, and disappeared. He fought for the cause he believed in, all that. So he made a decision what he was going to do in jail. And no matter what the distraction of 30 years was, he was that leader. Same was Gandhi. He was nothing. He was a little attorney from London that came over there and saw the injustice, and he freed India from the English. He had 1 billion people follow him, and freed it without any violence because he preached nonviolence, and he took those beatings and everything else, and people followed him and took those beatings and never fought back. And because of his resistance, it caved in. The English had to give up, because he could control. It was a decision Gandhi made. It was a decision his followers made, and a decision that Mandela made. So if you just take those, I could give you a million examples of history. It is just the way it works. And if you want to take a negative example, and people sometimes hate what I talk about, but look at Hitler. I mean, I don't condone what he did and everything, but he made a decision to take over the world. He almost did, but he was negative. But he was a little corporal in jail. He was a failed painter. He had nothing. And he took over and made Germany the greatest power at that time, and took over Paris, almost took over the world. And if he wasn't so evil and made so many mistakes, he would have owned the world. But it was from a guy from nothing. But I don't look at what he did, but just the way he thought. He was able to do what he did because of what he is. I don't condone what he did. I don't condone him killing 6 million Jews. I don't condone, But again, look at what it changed. Through every bad, there's a good. Without what Hitler did, America wouldn't be America today, the superpower it did. Before, we didn't want to be involved in wars. We didn't have an army. We didn't have anything. And FDR, when Japan finally hit Hawaii, we became a machine. Every factory was a military machine. And after World War II, we were the superpower we are today. So because of that bad, we became this good. So it's really interesting. You got to think. So nothing is ever bad or good. It just is. And even if you go back with, it's lucky that we beat the English and becoming independent. Because if we didn't do that, it was us that saved their ass in World War II. I mean, we gave them the military equipment. We went in there and we saved Europe. So if we weren't independent, we're just an English colony that just kind of survived and fed them, and we were the breadbasket of Europe. When anything happened like that, we wouldn't have been the power that we were and thinking the way we were to be able to help the rest of the world. So again, it might have been bad for the English then, but it was good 200 years later or something, 270 years or 50 or whatever it was. But it's just the idea is, if you start looking at things, nothing bad or good, it just is. And through every adversity, a seed of equal greater benefit happens. It's just everything you think over. If you think that, then you'll think anything happens. So, okay, that's what I do. When something happens or I stumble on something, I say, okay, let me see what is the seed of equal greater benefit I'm going to get from this. And then you find it.
I know that we're probably coming to an end here shortly, but
I've done 5 hours. You know that.
I know, right? I got
luckily Courtney's in New York visiting her family, so I'm here all by myself. I can talk forever.
Well, you keep talking. you talking about freaking filet, and I'm like, oh god, I haven't eaten. But
me neither. See, you're thinking negative.
I know.
You should have so much energy right now. You're not hungry.
I have a lot of energy, especially when I'm with you.
Yeah.
But, I think about, the Think and Grow Rich starts off with the whole burning desire thing.
Yeah.
And Edwin C. Barnes getting on the freight train and riding in a freight car to meet with Edison and said,
that's the example I used to go after Khashoggi.
Yeah, right. And I think about he walked in looking like a bum. It says it in the book. Like, he looked like a bum. And he said, I'm going to be not work for you. He said, I'm going to be your business partner.
I know.
And
That's what I said to that. But Edison saw something in him,
yeah,
and it worked. It's just that confidence, that strength that you have. People will believe you because even Edison or anybody else, they're more followers. If you're a real leader, you become a leader because you have confidence in yourself and you show it.
yep.
So when you make a statement, they believe you. They give you the benefit of the doubt because your statement is made with that much power. And
Yeah.
even that, if you read Think and Grow Rich, also that little girl, that little black girl that went
Yep.
to that slave owner who wouldn't pay her mother for the laundry, she went to him and said, my mama needs that 50 cents. And right away, he just took the money and gave it to her. It was her attitude and her strength of character that overpowered that guy. So that was another powerful example in Think and Grow Rich I learned a lot from, and the attitude you have to have. So you just fair enough.
Sorry, I'm eating some nuts now.
Oh, okay. I'll just keep on going. But anyway, don't you like that part with that little black girl? I mean, a lot of people pass that up. It was short, but it just shows the attitude you have to have going through life. That little girl, I'm sure, did a lot of great things after it. It's because people cannot resist you. You become an unmovable force. You become a freight train that goes through life that nobody can stop. If you decide to be that way and you change your attitude about things, because if you're a victim and weak, people will just walk all over you. You want to be the opposite, and anybody can change to that. Again, I was that victim and weak when I was beat up in school and everything. And when I read Think and Grow Rich, it changed me completely. I was this introvert. I was this nothing. I wouldn't fight back. I wouldn't do anything. But I was able to learn and then apply it till it became so powerful inside me that I'm unstoppable. There's nothing that I could decide to do that I don't do. But it's also the same with anybody. Anybody can decide to do anything they want out of life, to be bad or good. Think of, like, I always say when somebody asks who's the most powerful person, I always say it's you. It's me. It's like this little guy that I remember. It was I forgot which Israel leader that was there, and it was just about to broker peace with the Palestinians. And this one guy didn't like it, or this South, and it was a little guy of nobody decided to assassinate the guy, and the peace was ended. He was nothing. So he was more powerful than the prime minister of Israel at the time because he had confidence, he had a goal, and he did what he did. Right. And same, like I think we talked about one talk when I just saw that the Netflix special on that bombing in Boston. Again, look at what these two little kids in high school did. They created a bomb and created that bombing that paralyzed a whole nation. The president Obama, on Air Force One, immobilized to go to Boston. They shut down the whole state looking for these guys. They appealed. All this from two kids' determination, decided they're going to do something, and they did it. Again, a negative example, but shows what you can accomplish. You are that powerful. Those two kids were that powerful to move the president, shut down the nation, move the military, all that stuff. So anybody can achieve those things. But again, achieving negative, they both ended up dying. But if you do it for the negative, it'll backfire. But I'm just giving those examples. If you make those decisions for the good, for advancing and doing good, you still have the same achievements. But I'm just saying that the universal law will work on the negative or positive. If you're a determined person, you will do it. And that was one. Do you ever see the John Wick movies?
Oh, yes.
I love the John Wick. I remember when the guy in the first movie and the big boss was so scared of John Wick, he's gonna kill. He says, "You don't know about John Wick. He is a man of focus. Once he decided, that's it. He's gonna kill everybody in there,
right?
And he did it. I mean, it was a movie, but it was that line that got me. He said, "This is a man of focus," and that's why everybody was afraid of him, and that's why he survived through 4 films. But But it's the same as anybody. If you're focused and you've decided on a direction, you'll be there. If it's to be poor, good luck. You'll be poor. You will absolutely get what you want. If it's to be wealthy, you'll be there. It's a decision. Even I was just at Westgate, and it's one of my more successful places where I put my Teslas and everything for EV mobility because it's timeshare and everybody's staying there a week. So I'm now taking over the Westgate in Vegas, and now I'm going to take all the Westgates. But it reminded me of the story of Dave Siegel, and if you look back, and his wife did that that show that built a 150,000 square foot house and everything.
Yeah.
But Dave Siegel in 2008, when all this happened, he almost had to file bankruptcy. I mean, it was almost, but he was a determined person, and now he's richer than has ever been, and he's more successful than he's ever been. But he was, everybody wrote him off, and he was going to be broke, and he ended up buying now the Westgate and in Las Vegas, and he's just growing his empire. But he was counted out, just like I was counted out. And I don't even know if I told you this one story when I was really down and out in the street. And this one guy, everybody counted me out also. They said, okay, he's broke. He's had his time. He'll never come back. Yep. And I called this one guy. I don't know why on the phone. I was trying to use a phone. And this guy who's an attorney that I knew for a while, he said, you know what, I'm going to give you a little bit of money and you come and I help you with it. So he drove. I was walking Sunset Boulevard because I was totally broke. And he came and saw me. And he gave me this lecture. And he was going to give me $100. Then he looked at me and said, you know what, you're not even worth this $100. And he took off and never even gave me that $100. So, but
let me say this. I got to say this because later in the story in your life, Dr. John Gray, the best-selling author of the 90s for hardback books that you helped you got the book there, helped get the book there with Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Dr. John Gray did help you. And
he was the only one. He gave me the first $10,000 to restart. But I'm saying when I was really that's how 99.9% reacted. But because I don't forget people, like the guy who helped me, Earl Ferris, I put in a book when I was down and out, when I was 15, 16, when I made money, I took care of him for the rest of his life till he died. Now, John, like when I made money, like he wanted a bet. When I bought my Bentley, I bought him one as a gift. I showed you that picture. And then I manage his money. I make sure he makes money and he invests well, and I'll take care of him for the rest of his life too. So I don't forget. That's why in my book it says, don't step on people, help people. Don't forget the people that help you. So for John, I'll take care of him for the rest of his life, and we're good friends. But the people that don't and all that, it's not I'm bitter with them. I forgot about them. I don't talk to them. I don't think about it. They're not even my thought. They don't benefit for all these things. So I just made a whole new group. But I get to understand the way of the world. It's just the way of the world. 99% of people when you're out will do that. So you just have to depend on yourself. So it gave me a lesson to even be stronger, depend on myself more. So I just, I don't.
You're not bitter about it.
No, you can't be. It's just the way it is. It just is, just like the thing. You're like, oh, it just is. You think Jesus was, if there was a Jesus, was bitter about all these people that was crucifying him? No, they don't know what they do. Forgive them. These people don't know what they do. They have no idea. They don't know my mind that I'm going to come back. They just know what they see in the exterior. They don't understand. That's why it doesn't matter what anybody thinks. Don't take anybody else's criticism, opinions, or anything. It's like the whole saying, everybody has one and they all stink kind of thing. So the only opinion matters is yours, your own, and look up to things. And once you think the way you think and you've achieved it on your own, then you know that what the principles are and how they work. You are going to be successful. And I do love to. I just want to know this because I know every time I do this talks and lasts a long time, most people stay on. Has most people stayed on since we started?
We're about half of where it jumped way up, and then that's the way it works with live streams, man.
Yeah, it's okay. We still kept half the people for over 2 hours.
Yeah, no,
and a lot of people stay there, but
if people that are watching would share this out right now, even if you've already shared it before, if you shared it out right now, it would definitely help. So thank you in advance for sharing it. But I mean, look,
I just want people to get this. I don't know. I don't have to do this. I don't have to write. I don't make any money in a book. All that goes to the Napoleon Hill Foundation. I spend more money publishing and stuff than I'll ever make on a book, and I donate more to Napoleon Hill. This is out there for people to get information. I don't charge for any of my classes or courses or anything I do. I don't charge for anything on my site because I don't want them to pay for it. I want them to get this information and understand what they could do with their lives. It's just, if I get all this benefit, I need to give things back. I mean, I have big projects that I'm going to give back, but I want to give back enough to people to they change their lives also. So that's why when I push for people to see it, or have people want more people to see it, because I'm excited because it's only going to affect 1 or 2% of the people. Believe it or not everybody's going to do what I tell them to do. So the more people watch it, the more people will do it.
Look, you did something at Christmas last year. Was it last year? It was
Yeah,
last year,
this
right?
last
Yeah.
Christmas, yeah.
You for the whole like month of December or
Yeah, I
from
just gave away the book
Thanksgiving,
for free.
you literally gave it for free. Plus, you paid the shipping for it.
No, they paid. The only thing they paid was the shipping, but I couldn't control the shipping. It was only $4 or $5.
Oh,
So they got the.
yeah, that's right. You charge $5 for shipping. That's
I
right.
didn't charge the post office though. Whatever,
I
mail.
know. No, I
Yeah,
know.
no, but I gave my book for free. I just wanted people to get it,
Yep,
and we gave away like almost 50,000 books, and
I
I let
know.
people order 100 at a time as long as they were going to give it away to people. I
Yep.
just want that information out there, and
Yep.
and just to have even a little shift in consciousness of some people. It just takes one person to have the right consciousness to change the world, change things the way it happened, like Gandhi, all these people. If I could affect one person to change their lives, that changes a whole group of people, that affects more people, then it was worth it all, even if 90% of the people don't do anything with
It's
it.
the butterfly effect.
Yeah. So
It's the butterfly effect. You're making waves, man. Listen, I do have to run. I know you can sit here for hours. I
yeah,
honestly have no idea how you do it.
I'm just excited about life. I'm connected to the
I know.
universe. I have more. That's why I don't sleep, and I still could do 10 times the work anybody can in a day.
You are like the most inspirational person, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's to me, it's absolutely an honor to call you a friend, and I
Yeah.
mean, I
Same
love
here.
you.
But
You're
I know I've told you you always made every one of your guests feel like they're special. I want you right now and say and admit, and only if you believe it, that I'm the best guest you ever have.
you're the best guest I've ever had,
And you mean it.
and of course I mean it.
Okay.
You are, dude. There's nobody I've ever had, not one single person out of 500 and say 520 interviews I've done on my show, not one person that has a story anywhere even remotely close to your story. Like nowhere. You've gone to the bottom of the bottoms and risen to billionaire status not once, but twice, three times. I don't even know how many times now. You go out and you literally go to the homeless communities in LA and hand out money and help these people that need help. You're constantly you've been in my mastermind group many different times, giving of yourself, just answering questions and helping people. And you do this thing every Saturday with Troy, and you're constantly helping people, man. And there's no way, just by the laws of the universe, there is no possible way that you're not going to win more in life because of the way you are, because of who you are and who your heart is.
No, I guess that's what I want. Also, I've decided to get more out of the world. I, I mean, I can't even imagine where I'm going to be in 5 years from now. I mean, it's just my goals are so big, but I'll hit all those goals that I've decided to hit. So it's just everybody could be the same way, to be this unstoppable and do anything they want out of life.
Yeah.
Again,
Is that,
the final thought, it's a decision.
did your sprinklers just come on?
Yeah, they did. So I'll get a little wet, but it's okay.
Are they going to hit you?
It's okay. It's only water. It's not a
Oh
big
my
deal.
God. Wow. Eric says you were there once when I wasn't there. I don't remember that. On Grow Live Academy, I don't remember that. Maybe you were. I don't remember that. Anyway, hey, everybody watching, make sure that you're following Ramy. I don't want him to get too drenched with water sitting there.
Okay.
Make sure you're following Ramy and go get his book. If you've not read his book, get this book. It will change your life. I promise you. Well, no, it won't change your life. First step, get the book. Second step, read the book. Third step, study the book. Fourth step, apply the principles of the book in your life. Like you got to apply. Oh, that's right. Mike Shine. When Mike Shine hosted it and you came in. And I wasn't there that night. I forget what I had going on, but yeah, that was awesome.
Did I have lunch with Mike Shine when he was here in LA?
Yes, him and Brenda, his wife. Yep.
Yeah.
He's the attorney from Rhode Island.
Yeah, great couple. Yeah, that was good.
Super. They actually they're amazing. They moved to Roatan. Yeah.
Well, people should feel like I know we auctioned off a lunch with me and John.
Yep.
And everybody paid, and it was all going to the foundation. Paid $6,000 just to listen to the same thing we're giving for free.
Yep.
So Mike Shine and his wife paid $6,000 each to just sit down and have lunch to just talk.
Yep.
So
they did.
They're
Cleona
did also, and Cleona made a life-changing decision. One of the few people took it, and you had her on your show.
Yeah,
she decided to leave and change and start the Napoleon Hill Foundation. Bought the rights, and now I think the first 3 months it did $1.6 million or something out of that. So she made a life-changing decision by being around this thinking around us, and she always says that because of me in the book and being here, she changed her whole life. And she was going through a divorce. She was going through a bunch of things, but she didn't let any of that stop her or affect her. And she now is extremely successful in what she's doing. So I have to hand it to her because, but again, she's one of the that really took in the information, understood it. But she was working with Bob Proctor, so she had it in the past. But I think it finally, went home the way it was explained to her, and she saw it and understood it. So I'm glad you had her on the show. She's a person.
I was on her Zoom. I saw that she was live earlier. I got on her Instagram live, and she said, "Ken, I'm going to send you a link." And she texted me a link, and I got on this Zoom meeting with all these people that she had. She is just a freaking rock star, man. And that's, that's the other thing I got to point out. And Jaime Gonzalez, who is a doctor here in Dallas, him and his wife are both eye doctors. They have probably close to $1 billion in real estate assets. He's on here right now, thanking you for all of the invaluable content. But they're two amazing people. And I've got to say that people like you and Cleona and Jaime and his wife Hua, like getting around the right people and have that mindset, there's nothing. Is there anything more important? I think.
No, it's important, man. Even when I was homeless, I didn't hang out with the rest of the homeless people. Even young, I went out. I was on my own. I don't want their thoughts to pollute my thoughts.
Right.
Because I knew myself and all that, and I was going to hang out with them and start living like that. I go down Skid Row, and there's 30,000 homeless people downtown LA. And you know what? They build this tents, and they have a couch, even have TVs in there. They've lived a life, but now they've conditioned themselves to stay homeless for the rest of their lives. They don't cheap for work. So I wasn't going to be polluted by that homeless way of thinking. So that's why I always stayed away on my own. And then, like you say, surround yourself with people, because that's the way you're going to think most of the time. So everything, what you watch, the people that's around you, what you read, all that stuff is just entering in your mind until it absorbs into your subconscious mind.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's great. And I'm glad he went from a doctor and built $1 billion worth of real estate. That's the same way Donald Sterling. He was an attorney, and he got his first money, bought his first real estate. He kept on growing it until he never sold the thing. And then he's worth $4 or $5 billion today. So it is what you decide to do. He could have decided, you know what, I'm just going to stay an eye surgeon and make the money as an eye surgeon. But he decided he wanted to build some wealth on top of that and build and stuff. And so I'm sure it's not by accident he's got $1 billion worth of real estate. He got it because he made the decision he was going to do that, and he did it. So
and they're incredible, and they're giving and loving and caring people just like you. I mean,
you see, money is not the root of it. Money made them better.
That's
if you have
right.
a bad character inside, like Hitler, when you get money, you become a bad person. But if you're a really good character inside anyway, money just enhances your qualities. So there were good people that money just enhanced the positive qualities. So I should take him in as a partner when I buy the hotel in Guyana, because they're good people as partner. Yeah.
They'd be really good partners. Jaime, I don't know if you're still watching, but if you are, put in the comments. There's another country that they've bought a lot of stuff in. Jaime, if you're still here, just drop the name of the country. I forget. I just saw it in a post the other day.
Yeah,
And
because Guyana has grown by 50% a year.
Look, he just said it for sure. So I'll connect you guys. You can talk about it, man.
Oh, I love it. Guyana has grown by 50% a year. Real estate is jumping by 100, 200% every year now, and it's just starting.
Belize,
Belize.
They own
a bunch. Belize doesn't have any money, but think of a country that all of a sudden discovered more oil than anybody in 50 years, and that's in 2 blocks. They have 6 more blocks they're auctioning off, and 800,000 and millions of people are moving in there now because of all the oil money, and they have 100 billion to spend. The real estate is going fucking nuts. That's why that hotel, and I have the only casino license in there, so the casino's gonna make 100 million a year. It's just ridiculous, and the amount of stuff you could do, and knowing the president, I could get land for free and do stuff. It's crazy.
You met Jaime and his wife.
I did.
You
in
met
LA?
them in Orlando.
You see what I'm saying? What I say? I flew to Orlando. I spent 100,000 fuel. Maybe it was to meet Jaime, so we invest alongside there. You never know what comes out of something. Right. You just do good things.
You spent 100,000 in fuel to see me. Come on.
Yeah, but I'm saying you don't know why. I mean, why you things happen, but you do positive things.
I know.
And maybe it's to meet Jaime, so we partner up and do great deals in Guyana and make billions of dollars together over there. I don't know, but I'm just saying that I'm just kind of going back to why did I stop by? I just said I wanted to because I don't expect or anything, or like when I was doing it, I just say, good things happen and stuff. And then now on this call, how long ago? It was 2 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
Now we're going to connect with Jaime. So I'm just giving examples. I'm saying that just keep on doing things. Just action, move ahead positively, and don't worry what the benefits are. It'll unfold itself. That's the way the universe works. Things will just unfold, and you just be positive. I'm telling you, if I went to your house and even if I did stop by and I was nasty and I was bitter, it cost me money. Why am I wasting my time here? Jaime would have heard all that, and he wouldn't even consider being on this call, and it wouldn't snowball to this. So. Again, just a perfect example. I just wanted to point out what an example live happening right now. That the benefits of having that positive thought and just moving forward and taking action.
It's true. 1,000%. Well, Ramy, I love you, man. Thank you for
my pleasure.
For man, it's always so powerful hanging out with you
and I'll let you know when we're about to go public with EV Mobility, and you can let everybody know. But I do want to see people make again, I'm not telling you might lose all your money, but if you don't, the stock can go up too. So I got to remember all the SEC rules. But
disclaimers.
Make the decision, read the disclaimers, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But if you believe in the model and believe what we can do, and when you believe the leadership behind it, then that is not a bad idea.
Right. Ramy El-Batrawi, everybody. Follow him, get his book, get multiple copies of his book, and hand them out to your friends, hand them out to your enemies, but hand his book out and tell people.
Your enemies will become your friends if you give them to your enemies, because they'll succeed. Their life will be better. They won't be as bitter.
Ramy, thank you, man. Everybody, there's a ton of people from your group watching as well.
Right.
So.
How many people was a max? I can't see how many people there are right now.
I won't know until I go back and calculate.
But how many are there right now? Just curious.
It says there's only 10 left right now, so I don't. Yeah, I mean it's been up and down.
Hey, 10 people lasting 3 hours is great. So they really believe that those 10 people will absorb this and just keep on studying. It's a great thing.
Yes. Well, thank you all very much. And Ramy, thank you. I appreciate you. And we will see you all later. Ramy, thank you. Stay with me, though. Don't hang up. But I'm going to end the live stream. Y'all have a great night. Thank you so much. We'll see you later.